free to send us a voice note.
The producer was Sophie Eastor, researcher Natasha Fernandez, series producer Alex Lewis and editor China Collins. Tom Brignall mixed the programme.
The top stories live from the Sky News City studio. Bumper profits at Ryanair boosted by pent-up travel demand. The head of a Dutch dairy cooperative becomes the new chief executive at Unilever. A big increase in the number of profit warnings issued by UK-listed companies. Plus, why would-be home buyers are sitting tight for now. Good morning, this is Ian King live, an hour of business and economic news from the heart of the city. And in a moment we're going to be hearing from the Prime Minister, who's going to be talking about the future of emergency care in the NHS. But first, on to the business news, and Ryanair says it sees a strong summer ahead as it posted a record profit after tax this morning. The Dublin-based airline recorded a profit of €211 million, £185 million if you prefer, for the final quarter of last year. That's compared with an £84 million loss the year before. Well, the biggest airline in Europe says that pent-up demand led to a 24% increase in traffic compared with the previous year. I've been speaking with Neil Sorahan, who's Ryanair's Group Chief Financial Officer.
I think we saw a very good first half, and that just continued into the third quarter. 24% increase in traffic compared to last year, and fares running at 14% ahead. There appears to be a lot of pent-up demand. People are sitting on a lot of savings at the moment and very keen to get out and about. But I expected that Christmas was going to be strong. We effectively had Christmas cancelled for 3 years in a row, so people were very keen to spend it with friends and family this year, and that came true in the traffic numbers and obviously in the profits for the quarter. But that said, we're continuing to see robust bookings into Easter and into the summer of next year as well, so people continue to have that hunger to travel.
You mentioned in the statement that obviously a lot of competitors have fallen by the wayside. What kind of opportunities does that provide for you?
Well, we've seen over the past 2 years, for example, we've grown to 40% market share in Italy. So that's about a 14-point increase in where we were. We think there'll be more opportunities there in that market, particularly as Lufthansa are trying to acquire ITA, the former Alitalia, down there. We've grown very strongly in Central Eastern Europe and Poland. We're now 40% market share. The UK over 20% market share, and growing strongly in Spain, where we're up from 21% to 23%. So we think there'll continue to be huge opportunities as we take delivery of our 210 game changer Boeing 737 order book, and as we grow to 225 million passengers over the next 3 to 4 years.
You mentioned in the statement this morning that there might be a slippage in delivery of some of those 737s. Is that going to inhibit your ability to put on as much capacity this summer as you would otherwise?
Well, in fairness to Boeing, and I've been one of their harshest critics, they have improved their production over the past number of weeks. We are seeing better regularity of aircraft coming in, but they may fall short by maybe 4 or 5 aircraft into peak summer. We have contingencies in place. We've leased another 737 back in December, and we extended our A320 leases. So I'm relatively comfortable that we'll hit the 185 million passenger target next year, which is a 10% increase on this year's 168 million.
You touched just now on the strength of forward bookings. What does Easter look like compared with pre-pandemic times? Is it easy to draw comparison?
Easter strong. We've had our record bookings in the first 2 or 3 weeks of this month, and we continue to see robust bookings over the weekend just gone at relatively higher fares. So I think Easter will be good. I think the summer will continue to be strong as well. So my strong advice to you, Ian, is to go out and book as early as possible.
What about fare increases this year? What sort of magnitude are you looking to push through?
It's too early to call what they're going to be on a full year basis, but what I can say is that based on what we're seeing and on the capacity that I think we'll have and that the market will have, the market in general won't be back to pre-COVID capacity levels. So huge demand, a lot of Americans coming over with strong dollars, and I think fares inevitably will go up this year, but it's too early to put a figure on it.
And obviously there have been some disputes among European air traffic controllers of recent times, I think Italy being the latest. How concerned are you about that? Could we face another summer of discontent among air traffic controllers?
I'm always worried when it comes to air traffic controllers, because unfortunately they continue to underinvest in the industry. France and Germany always stick out as areas where much improvement is needed. So yeah, I would have some concerns on ATC into this summer, but I think the airport situation is going to be significantly better than we saw last year. The airports had a slow start, but in fairness, improved things into the summer. We've been talking to all our airports and our handlers, and they've assured us that they're well staffed up. So ATC still will be unfortunately a cloud on the horizon, but I think everything else will be in relatively good shape.
And in terms of staff morale, you've unwound the pay cuts that you pushed through during the pandemic now for I think 98% of all employees?
Over 95%, yes, and we would hope to get the small minority that haven't signed up to do so in the not too distant future. So yes, great opportunities. People see the aircraft coming in, they see the promotional opportunities, and they see the ability to grow over the next few years. So I think everybody's very excited.
What about Flybe? Obviously that's collapsed over the weekend. I know there's not a great deal of crossover between your network and theirs, but what are your reflections on Flybe's failure again?
Well, I think it's more difficult for airlines with weaker balance sheets without the ability to hedge their fuel to absorb the extra costs. It's difficult for them to survive in this market, and we saw a lot of airlines go out of the market over COVID. I think we're going to see more of that. I talked about what's happening in Italy. I think we'll see something similar in Portugal. We do have some crossover. We're opening a base in Belfast International for this summer. That's more on the back of the UK government reducing the air passenger duty taxes, and I think you may see more Ryanair on domestic UK thanks to those kind of initiatives as we move forward. But in I suppose closer to the actual Flybe situation itself, where the opportunities arise for the former staff now is that we're happy to recruit their pilots, their cabin crew engineers, and office staff, and we've been working on that over the weekend. But as we look beyond the UK and elsewhere, I think huge opportunities and likely more consolidation over the next year or two.
So potentially you might be looking to take on some of these Flybe staff that have just lost their jobs.
Yeah, we're more than happy to take them on. They don't fly Boeing 737s, for example, but we will happily train non-type rated captains. We already have 1,000 cadets going through our training schools. We'll happily take on the cabin crew and the engineers. So it's a hard time for them, but there are opportunities with the likes of Ryanair.
Our research out this morning suggests that the number of profit warnings issued by UK-listed companies in 2022 increased by 50% year on year. The consulting business EY Parthenon says that UK-listed companies issued 305 profits warnings in 2022, with consumer-facing businesses leading the way. Well, joining me now is Joe Robinson, EY Parthenon partner and UK and Ireland turnaround and restructuring strategy leader. Joe, welcome to you. How are you defining profits warning here, first of all?
So this is where a business has sort of put out a message that they're not going to meet the forecast that they originally had planned. And so they're seeing some kind of challenge, whether that will be around their cost structure, their revenue, or else. So it's a message out to the market that they're facing a warning around their profits.
And how many of these alerts were due to a deterioration in trading, and how many were due to just poor guidance and forecasting in the first place?
Well, I think, if we talk about those that are facing the warnings at the moment, consumer-facing companies still led profit warnings in the fourth quarter of 22. And that's particularly around what we're seeing is rising costs, changing consumer behaviour and the cost of living crisis. And that will continue to be a pressure throughout 2023. But I think what we're seeing actually now as well is that deepening and spreading into other areas from across the economy. So other pressures that are being, talked about is supply chains. So cost pressures through supply chains, falling confidence that's hit spending, contract renewals and credit tightening. So it's quite unusual that it isn't just one or two areas impacted, it's many.
What have big companies been doing to try and mitigate some of these? As you say, I mean, initially it was an inflation-related thing. Presumably companies were able to cut costs over the course of the year.
Yeah, and I think it's really about how you take action and companies take action early. So the number of companies issuing multiple warnings is rising. And based on past analysis, once a company issues multiple warnings, it can be challenging to navigate. And in Q4 22, we saw 36 companies warned for at least the second time in the last 12 months. But a lot of this is about actually how do you build that resilience and navigate the next 12 months coming up and plan for that? How will you adapt your business? And I think taking a step back and acting early enough so that you've got all the options available to you is really important for management teams.
You just made a really interesting point there, Joe. I mean, it's something I've always been brought up at since I was a young reporter in Business Desk. There's an old market saying, if a company issues a profits warning, there's at least one more to come. I mean, you're suggesting that old adage has some truth behind it.
Well, we are seeing more. So more companies issuing 2 or 3 warnings. And so on our data that's just been produced today, it shows that on issuing your third warning, 30% have then delisted. But actually, I think it's about taking an earlier step. So what is it that companies need to do to plan, to adapt, to make changes so that they can navigate this uncertainty and thrive into the future?
So you do get the sense then that companies are getting ahead of the curve then and getting to grips with some of these issues?
I think they are, but I think, look, many management teams haven't had to navigate the myriad of challenges that are out there all at once. And so I think it's about actually taking stock, getting the right support around them, and how do they set themselves up onto the platform to be successful in the future? Because there is just a lot of uncertainty out there. And so how do we help companies navigate as they move forward?
All right, Joe, we have to leave it there. It's good to see you this morning. Thank you.
Thank you.
Would-be home buyers are sitting tight and waiting for a fall in both house prices and mortgage rates. That's the conclusion from Zoopla, the online property portal, in its latest house price index. Well, the company also reports that where there is demand from first-time buyers in particular, there's growing demand for flats. I'm sorry, we are going to break into the business news. I do apologise. We'll get back to this story later on. We're going to hear from the Prime Minister now.
Joined by so many of our amazing student nurses and paramedics and actual researchers as well, who I had the pleasure to spend a bit of time with. Now, earlier this year, I set out my priorities for the country, which are there behind me, and that's to halve inflation, to grow the economy, to reduce debt, cut waiting lists, and stop the boats. And this morning, I was at North Tees Hospital with Amanda, who runs the NHS, and other colleagues, to launch our plan to cut waiting times in urgent and emergency care, something that we've been working on for a little bit. Now, I don't need to tell all of you about some of the challenges that we're all experiencing in our emergency departments at the moment. Now, there's a lot of reasons for that. We're still recovering from the impact of COVID. We've had, I think, the worst flu season, Amanda will correct me, in about a decade, so it's been pretty tough for everyone, and we've still got far too many people in hospitals who we would much prefer, and they would prefer, to be back home in their communities communities being looked after. But look, we're not alone in facing these challenges. You can see similar things in Wales, in Scotland, even internationally in Canada and Italy and Germany. They're all people grappling with similar challenges. But we still need to do something about it. And that's why last year, when the Chancellor stood up and announced what's called the autumn statement, we had to make some difficult decisions. I think you all remember what happened, and we had to do some things to get our debt and borrowing under control. In spite of all of that, we prioritised the NHS and social care with billions of pounds of extra funding, because I know it's your priority, it's my priority, and the government's priority too. But the question is, and what you want to ask me is, well, how are you going to spend that money so it actually makes a difference? Because we need to improve this. And today's plan does that, I believe. There's 5 very specific things we're doing. The first is more capacity. That means 5,000 more beds, 800 more ambulances, 100 more mental health ambulances, just to put more capacity into the system. The second thing is to increase the workforce, making sure that we've got more doctors, more nurses, more types of all professional actually, and many of you that I've met this morning are going to be here and help us deliver on that, and we want to support you to work as flexibly as possible when you get there. The third thing was discharge. I mentioned we've got 14,000 people in hospitals at the moment who ought to be either back home or in their communities, and that's causing some of the challenges that we're seeing in our hospitals at the moment. So we've got a plan to speed discharge with particular money and some initiatives to help there. The fourth thing is having more people cared outside of hospital. I think most people don't need to be in hospital, they don't want to be in hospital. And there are some great examples where we can treat people with respiratory conditions in virtual wards, or indeed new frailty and fall services, again, keeping people out of hospital. So we're going to do far more of those. And lastly, we're going to improve 111. And we're going to put different types of people into the 111 service so people can get the help that they need on the phone and hopefully end up not needing to go to A&E in the first place. So those are the 5 points of the plan, and all of that is going to have an enormous amount of support to help those trusts that need extra help. Now, I was with Kath and her team this morning at North Tees. North Tees is an example of somewhere that is doing brilliantly. Thanks to the incredible joined up working between all the different people at North Tees, they've really figured out how to attack this problem and make an enormous difference to so many people's lives. And what we need to make sure is that we spread that kind of best practice out and about across the country, and that's what Amanda and I and the Health Secretary were talking to the team at North Tees about this morning. So that in a nutshell is the plan, with more beds, more ambulances, more staff, better social care. And if we can deliver on it, then I think we will see, in fact I know we will see, the largest and fastest ever improvement in emergency waiting times in the NHS's history. That is the ambition of our plan that we've set out today. And partly because of all the time I've spent with brilliant people like Kath and her team this morning, all of you who are training, I feel really confident that we can deliver it. Because ultimately, it's because of all of you and the hard work and the ingenuity that you bring to your jobs day in, day out, that we're going to fix this problem, we're going to improve things for patients and make an enormous difference to people up and down the country. So thank you for your help in making that a reality. Thank you for being here today. And with that, I'd be delighted to answer any and all of your questions on all things NHS or anything else, or Teesside or anything else at all that you want. I'll say, right, who wants to go first? Yes.
Hi, I'm a student nurse at Teesside University and I'm based at North Tees Hospital. As a student, it can be quite difficult. I'm a mature student. The reality is I have to work alongside my studies, which is fine. But when we're on placement, it gets quite difficult. I know as a student, I'm very grateful for the NHS bursary that you introduced, the £5,000, really grateful. But while we're on placement, it gets really difficult. Do you ever or envisage any change to the funding for student like nurses and allied health professions that might just help us when we're on placement? Because if we're doing 37 and a half hours, when we're on placement, it's really hard to work alongside that. And the bursary is brilliant, but do you think there might ever be a change to funding or just a little bit extra money for students, just to keep retention? There are people in my cohort that have dropped out. Just financially, it can be difficult. So it's just...
Yeah, Lynn, thank you, and it was great to see you guys earlier on, and thanks for what you're doing. And you're absolutely right. We recognise the challenges that were there for many of you who are trying to juggle being on your course and making everything work alongside, and that's why we reintroduced that bursary, which, as you said, and thank you for acknowledging that, because that's £5,000 a year of nurses' bursary. It was something that the RCN, your union, was really keen for us to do a couple of years ago, and we prioritised it. And I'm sure we'll get onto other things to do with pay as well later on. But that's something that it costs a lot of money, but I thought it was the right thing to do to help. Now, alongside that, you asked about other things. There are also maintenance grants that are available from memory, but we're always looking to make sure that the support we've got in place helps. And with the extra funding that we're putting in to the NHS, shortly we're going to publish a workforce plan. Right, which is something that many of you and your colleagues have asked for ages. We are going to finally do that. And as we publish that workforce plan and we kind of know, okay, great, we need this many nurses, this many doctors, this many paramedics, etc., figuring out, do we have all the bits in place to make sure we end up with that number of people is going to be really important. So we will look, as we do that, at making sure that the support is in place to get all the fantastic nurses we need. The other thing is training once you qualify. That was one of the other things that we did, which again was, I can see many of you nodding, because a lot of what you all said to us was, that's great, we do our course here, then we go and work. We'd like some support with continuous development, and we've now put in place a CPD budget for all of you. When you graduate and start work, you get access to, I think it's about £1,000 from memory, again, a CPD budget, so that you can continue learning more, doing more, and that's actually how we're going to solve some of these problems, because if you think of what all of you can do now compared to what nurses could do 20 years ago, it's changed dramatically. And if we can do more of that, it will help us have a more effective NHS and make sure you have really fulfilling careers as well. Perfect. Right, who's next? Yes, sir.
Hi, I'm a local community pharmacist, and I would like to know, are you aware, Prime Minister, of the perilous financial state that community pharmacy service is in at the moment in England and Wales? There are a lot of community pharmacies who are really struggling from a 30% cut in real terms funding over the last 7 years, and now we're at the brink of closure, and it'll not be long before you see some pharmacies closing. Can you please urgently inject some funding into the community pharmacy service? And the second question would be, have you considered a national pharmacy first scheme to ease pressure on the NHS in A&E and GP surgeries, where patients could come to a pharmacy first and be triaged in that way? A well-funded service would do a lot to help the NHS.
Yes. So, look, I'm biased on this because, as some of you may know, and Amanda's laughing, so my mum was a community pharmacist. She owned her own pharmacy. I grew up working in it most of my childhood. So I'm a big fan of pharmacies. My dad was also a GP, so I saw both sides of it. And I think your two questions actually go really well together. So how do we make sure that local pharmacies are sustainable into the future? It's figuring out, well, what more can community pharmacies do? And in the same way I was talking about nurses, if I think about all the things that a pharmacy does today compared to when I worked in my mum's pharmacy, that has evolved and changed. And to your point, I think there's more we can do. And it was one of the things that Amanda and I and the team have been discussing, is seeing how more we can move towards a pharmacy first model. We saw that during COVID with vaccinations, and bit by bit there are more services that can be put into pharmacies. All pharmacists by about 2025 or 6 are going to have the ability to prescribe. And I think that's the area that many pharmacists have said to us, say, hang on, whether it's for UTIs or other things or minor ailments, would it be possible for pharmacies to do more? And that's something we're actively looking at what does that mean for regulation, we have to get our antibiotic safety right, because if our chief medical officers were here, they would say, actually we do a very good job of this country of not making sure that people develop an immunity to antibiotics, and they want to make sure that that remains the case. So that's what they would say if they were here. But also things like blood pressure checks. is another thing where we probably can do more in pharmacies. And if we can get that right, there's so much undiagnosed high blood pressure, which then leads, all the paramedics here, which then leads to people needing ambulance call out. If we have pharmacies doing more blood pressure checks, for example, getting people the treatment they need earlier, stopping the ambulance call out. So there's a lot of opportunities there, and that's all the things that we are in the process of looking at. In the same way that today we published a pretty comprehensive plan on tackling urgent and emergency care, we're going to do something very similar for primary care as well. So last year we published a plan on electives, which is in process and working, so we're getting the backlog down on elective surgery. Today the focus is on emergency care, and then the next step will be on primary care, so you can expect to hear us talk a little bit more about pharmacies then. But I always have to be careful. I said I'm biased, so I have to check my natural pro-pharmacy bias in those things. Right, who's got another question? Yes, Miss.
Hi, I'm Enya. I'm a learning disability nurse by background. I'm also a lecturer here at Teesside. So there are approximately 1.5 million people with learning disabilities in the whole of the UK, and only 17,000 of us nurses in the whole of the UK. So just wondering what ideas you have for funding for learning disability services or learning disability nurse education.
Well, thank you for what you do. It's incredibly important, actually. I see in my own constituency, actually, relatively recently, I was talking to someone who does the same thing that you do, and it makes such a difference to people. So thank you for that. And thank you also for helping train the next generation of nurses that are going to come through. So one of the things we're actually in the process of publishing is we're going to have a new piece of legislation that changes all the guidance about how we treat people with learning disabilities and indeed autism. It's one of the things that I think we've learned more about over the years, and the way our current guidance and regulation is set up is probably not as it should be, and lots of your colleagues are helping us get that right to make sure that the treatment is in place for people at the right stage. We'll identify things early enough and then put the support around people that they need. Because if you look at the prevalence of it, it's gone up considerably, particularly at young age. And I think all of us want to make sure that, particularly for our young people, that we are getting them the support they need in schools to grapple with some of these things and have fulfilling lives. So that will come out, I think, later this year, but stand by on that, as well as the extra money that's going on, which we need to make sure gets down to what you're grappling with on the ground. We need to make sure that we get the overall approach and policy right in a way that in the past wasn't done properly, but now that with the new act that we're going to put forward will be fixed. Right, who's next? Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Well, actually, my background is education, so I ran a very large academy trust. But I'm not going to ask about that this morning because I think we're surrounded by health people. So the two things that I want to ask you is you've been to North Tees Hospital, and it is in desperate need of a rebuild. So I'd quite like to ask the question, what are your plans for rebuilding some of the hospitals that really are desperate, and lots of money is lost because they're actually spending it on repairs and maintenance, whereas if they had new builds, that would make a difference. And the second question I want to ask, because it's the elephant in the room, when are you actually going to pay nurses properly?
Right. So actually, great that we do both of those together. So on the hospital maintenance side, so there's actually the NHS capital budget at the moment is the largest it's ever been, and that goes into a mix of different things. It goes into goes into R&D, which is important. It goes into upgrades. So lots of hospitals that need upgrades are currently in the process of being, I think almost 100 are being upgraded as we speak, and that could be smaller scale interventions. There's a very large program of new builds and rebuilds, which is part of the 40 hospital program. And we're putting in more kit into all the hospitals, right? So community diagnostic centres, MRI scanners, those types of things, building elective surgical hubs, all those things actually are going to help us get the backlog down. So with that big capital budget that we've got, those are the different elements of it, and we're trying to get the balance right between all those things. But that overall pie is the biggest that it's ever been going into that area. Now, actually, it links to your second question, right? And I'm glad you asked about it, because it's a bit odd if we manage to get through this session without talking about it, right? And look, many of you here will be thinking about it. Many of you here will be members of your union. And let me explain, where we are and what we're doing, right? First of all, as hopefully you can tell, right, the reason I'm here today, I've got enormous gratitude for all of you who are doing an incredible job, working very hard at the moment in the NHS, particularly this winter, which has been really challenging for the reasons I talked about. And that's come on the back of 2 years, which have been really challenging because of COVID, right? So believe me, I know, and as I was talking about, I grew up in an NHS family, I understand how important healthcare is and the difference it makes. That's why we prioritised it last year, in spite of the difficult things. Now then, what does that mean for pay? Look, I would love, right, nothing would give me more pleasure than to wave a magic wand and have everyone, all of you, paid lots more, right? Of course, who wouldn't want to be able to do that? Of course I want to be able to do that. What we did do is there's an independent process that goes through this and provides a recommendation to the government. So it wasn't our decision. An independent process takes evidence from the unions, from the government, from others, and it says, look, we think the appropriate pay increase is X. They said roughly 5%, right? So we said, fine, we'll accept that. That's what we've put in place for last year. So why not more, right, is your question. And that's a completely fair question. And I guess I'd say a couple of things. We've had, handful of different questions about lots of different things, right? You asked about hospital upgrades, right? We asked about community pharmacy. We asked about training for new nurses and what support we can give them, people with learning disabilities, children with learning disabilities. That gives you a sense of all the things, right, that we have to try and balance. And that's my job. That's not an easy job, right? And that's what we have to do, fundamentally, right? I can tell you, hand on heart, that there's more money going into the NHS and social care than there ever has been before. I can tell you that when we had to make some really difficult decisions last year, we went out of our way to protect the NHS and social care and give it even more. And that meant difficult things elsewhere, which I've got some criticism for, right? So I can tell you that, right? So overall, the pie is as big as it's ever been, and in the circumstances was prioritised. But then within that pie, we've got to figure out what's the right balance between pay and between all these other things that we have to do. And it's not an easy thing to get right? And we'd like new, as you said, we want a new and upgraded hospital. We need more MRI scanners. We need more support for new nurses, etc. Right? So that's the balance that we get right. It's a question about what's affordable in that pie. And I don't want to put any of your taxes up. That's what it comes down to, right? I doubt any of you would thank me if I came here and said, great, well, I've put up all your taxes, right? I don't want to do that because it's tough enough at home as it is at the moment for all of you with your bills and everything else. So figuring out how to pay for these things is part of my job. And I think we've kind of, where we are with taxes at the moment, we can't put them up anymore, right? And we need to be getting them down. So that's what constrains me on one end. And then the other thing is inflation. Right, what is the number one challenge all of you have day to day at home? It's like every time you open a bill, it's like, oh my gosh, what is going on, right? Every single bill, every single week, and it's been like that for a while, right? The most important thing that I need to do for all of you, right, not just everyone working in the NHS, not just our nurses, but everyone in the country, the most important thing is to halve inflation, right? The thing that's going to make the biggest difference to all of your lives and everyone else's life, if by the end of this year, right, bills are not going up at the rate that they have been over the past year, because that is the thing that is eating into all of your quality of life, all of your standard of living. That's the thing that says, great, I can't go on holiday this year, or I can't buy these presents, or I can't go out for this meal, I can't do any of these things, because everything is just going up and up and up. I've got to get a grip of that for all of you. It is the most important thing. And if we don't do that, we won't be able to afford anything in the future. Because inflation is one of these things that this is a very young audience, right? So you won't remember, like when this goes badly wrong, as it did in the past, in the 1970s, and as I said, everyone here is too young to remember that. But when this gets wrong, and if we're still talking about high inflation in a year's time, right, it is going to be awful for all of you, right? We won't be able to afford to invest any more in anything, right? And no one will be able to spend money on anything they want because inflation would have just been going up and up and up. An important part of us getting a grip of inflation and halving it is making sure that the government's responsible with its borrowing, because if that gets out of control, it makes it worse. And it's about making sure pay settlements are reasonable and fair. And that's when you have periods of high inflation, what happened in the past is everyone said, okay, inflation was at 15%, we should all get paid 15%, and then you have a kind of vicious cycle which you never recover from. So, it would be the wrong thing to do. Of course, it would make my life easier to say, yeah, sure, great, let's just go ahead. It would be a bad thing for all of you if that meant that inflation was running really high in a year's time. We hadn't got a grip of it, and I don't want to do that for you. So even though it makes my life a bit more difficult today, I really think it's the right thing for all of you and everyone else if we just get through this. But look, I hear you, right? I hear all of you. I talk to your unions, the health secretary's talking to your unions. We want to find a way through this. I know things are tough, and I know what an incredible job you do. So rest assured that we are trying our hardest to find a way through. Sorry for the long answer, but... There we go, right, who's next? Yes, Miss.
Hi, my name's Anna. I'm a primary care network pharmacist. Do you have any plans to tackle disease prevention? For example, heart disease or diabetes, which will keep people out of hospital and in turn ease the pressure on emergency care?
Yes, I mean, that is excellent. Well, it's a little bit what I was talking about before about blood pressure checks. Is there more other testing that we can do in advance that does, which prevents conditions? Now, I mean, I was just upstairs with one of your colleagues who's sitting right next to you with this extraordinary invention, right? I mean, look, you guys are basically, I don't know if I'm like betraying any commercial secrets, but just basically what you have done here, what your team collectively have created is a brand new, urine-based test for something that at the moment requires, over £1,000 of quite invasive testing to be done in a hospital. And you said, figured out, hang on, we don't need to do that. We can do it with a simple, like a COVID test, right? And we can do it at home, and it costs literally 1,000 times less. And that means that many more people can go and get that test done, and we can figure out that they've got this particular condition earlier, and then we can get them the medicine that they need to stop it getting worse. Like, that is an amazing example of what is possible. But that's possible because of all of you, right? We've got some amazing researchers here who I'm really proud to say are just supported by the government with a big grant. And I think one of the other things that we do in that big NHS capital budget is fund R&D, right? Which doesn't sound very exciting, but there's that government R&D money that's gone into this particular building to support that particular team who have developed this new test, which they've worked on with all of you who are practitioners and nurses to make sure that it would actually work, right? That is now going to save tons of people's lives and save us money over time and prevent bad things from happening, right? And so you guys right here are a kind of amazing microcosm of what is possible to do that, and that's why it's working. And I'm really excited about the team seeing that thing grow. But it's just a small example of what we need to do a lot more of. But it is absolutely part of the answer, absolutely. There was another gentleman somewhere over here, I think. Yes.
Thank you. Tim Thompson, I'm Dean of Health and Life Sciences at Teesside University. There was a report from Policy Exchange a few weeks ago advocating for an increase in medical places and medical schools, partly focused on the community, as we're talking about today. And I just wondered if any of that had featured into your thinking around the workforce.
A new home address at GHS Housing Estates. From now to 31st January 2023, we are offering you an amazing 5% buyer's discount on all purchases on our expandable 1, 2, 3 and 4 bedroom detached homes at Cochrane Villa, Pokwase, just 5 minutes drive from the interchange. The Mayflower and the new Hazel Courts at Kuntusi, 20 minutes drive from Achimatamo. Beautiful homes in a serene and gated community with flexible payment plans available. Call us now on 0544 347 980 or 0544 347 981. GHS Housing Estates. View it, love it, own it. Make that move now this festive season to your new home address at GHS Housing Estates. From now to 31st January 2023, we are offering you an amazing 5% buyer's discount on all purchases on our expandable 1, 2, 3 and 4-bedroom detached homes at Cochrane Villa, Pokwase, just 5 minutes drive from the interchange. The Mayflower and the new Hazel Courts at Kuntusi, 20 minutes drive from Achimotamo. Beautiful homes in a serene and gated community with flexible payment plans available. Call us now on 0544 347 980 or 0544 347 981. GHS Housing Estates. View it, love it, own it.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission-free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for star, R for radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
Tune in to On Point here on Star Radio UK with Empress Regina every Monday at 5 p.m. GMT. Looking forward to your company.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Star Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Are you looking for the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy door-to-door shipment company? Well, look no further. When was the last time your family received a shipment back in Ghana on time and in time? You are not sure? Well, Lamb Shippers, we pride ourselves with being the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy shippers you can use. You are assured of a prompt pickup anywhere in the UK by our personnel. They also make sure your items are well packaged to get to its destination in time. When it comes to door-to-door shipment, look no further. Well, Lamb Shippers, contact us on 07939009321 or 07498911820. Or you can visit our website www.welllamp.co.uk. You can also drop us a mail, info@welllamp@gmail.com. Well Lamp Shippers, fast, reliable, and trustworthy.
The best radio show. Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
All around the world. In your car.
At work.
At home.
On your smartphone.
This is Star Radio UK. This is Star Radio UK.
Hi there, this is CJ Buckman, your life coach. And whenever I'm in London, I listen to Star Radio UK right here. But guess what? You can listen to wherever you are.
Body is your man. Bekutu, show them you got the coco set. Ladies and gentlemen, it's your boy Harrison, aka Mr. Songs. This is the Kingmaker Baba for the girls. We're here. This is Star Radio. Don't go nowhere. UK, London. We they call them London for home. For here, we they call them London. And that's how you know. Just have fun and stay blessed.
In your car.
At work.
At home.
On your smartphone.
This is Star Radio UK.
Are you ready to turn it up?
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Birds flying high You know how I feel. Sun in the sky. You know how I feel. Breeze drifting on by. You know how I feel. It's a new dawn. It's a new day. It's a new life for me. And I'm feeling good. Hey there, this is Archie, and it is STARR Radio UK and the morning show.
This is STARR Radio. This is STARR Radio UK. This is STARR Radio UK. This is STARR Radio. This is STARR Radio UK.
That's what makes you great. You hold the world in your hands, the hand that made me who I am. Same God now, yesterday, and forevermore. And that's what makes you great. You are
all around the world, in your car,
at work,
at home.
on your
This is STARR Radio UK. This is STARR Radio UK.
Are you ready to top?
Okay, let me say massive good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good dawn to you wherever you might be on planet Earth, and those of you on other planets as well. We want to salute you all and welcome you to the Monday edition of the morning show. Today's Monday, the 30th day of January the year 2023. Last but one day for the end of the month. I'm going to say the end of the year. Why is the end of the year? So somebody, you know. But wherever and whatever you are doing this morning, I want you to do me a massive favor. Share the broadcast with your friends and loved ones and invite them to like our pages as well. I remain yours sincerely, as you know. Yes, the one and only.
This is the
Archie. From now to 12:30, I'm going to be your anchor man, and I'm going to make sure I deliver on all the promises, not like the politicians do. But as I say all the time, from archaeology to zoology, from Accra to Zanzibar, it's making the headlines. I promise you one thing for sure, I'm going to touch on it. So once again, welcome on board. If you are sitting, sit very comfortably, buckle up. If you are standing, hold on to something, because it could, and at times that get bumpy. However, you are rest assured of one thing, that you are going to arrive at your destination safely. But let me say good morning to my team this morning, Mr. Olayomi Koike, HR Rachel in the Palian, and my able producer, Mr. Francis Guy in the house. And I hope you are doing very, very well.
Holy, holy.
Playing in the background something from Edith Morrison, and it says, "Great are you, Lord, great are you, Lord. If God is not great, where would we have been?"
Love for you runs deep.
Let me say good morning to Bishop Adeshina, wherever you are, my Bishop. Good morning to you. I hope you are doing very, very well. Pastor Momo, good morning. Anthony Adedeji, Aziz, Sir Maxwell, Moyiwa, and as many of you there. Tasino, hey, my Muscite. Tasino is in Moscow. Tasino, I hope you are doing very, very well. It's our special envoy in Moscow.
The hand that made me who
To my brother Felix all the way in Aberdeen, massive good morning to you. Kofi Ali Abdul Yakin, good morning. Dr. Martin, good morning. Mr. David Klucher, hey, long time no here. I hope you are doing very, very well. Good morning to you as well. Mr. Kitty Yosin, good morning, sir. Alright then, now let's crack on. I'm bringing you the quote for the day, the weather forecast will follow suit, then the travel update, and then we'll move on from there to have a look at some of the stories making the rounds across the globe this morning. That is Global Trotting. Then after that, at 11 o'clock, we'll bring you updates from Nigeria. The program continues from there, where we look at some of the other stories making the rounds in other parts of the world. Exactly at 12 o'clock, the lines will be open for you to add your voice to the discussions. We'll follow from there, and at 12:10, we'll bring the first part of the program to a close and get ourselves ready for the Career 101 with our own HRH Linda Pali. So in the gist, that's what's going to be happening today. And this will come your way from STARR Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Once again, I say welcome on board, and let's take this journey. You make a Well, when it comes to the quote for the day, it says candidates of success always have a future far bigger and better than the past. So that was at an event. Let me say good morning to Pastor David Kwachesaka, man of God. He was his 60th birthday celebration Thanksgiving service, and we were there. And the speaker, Dr. Tayo, did make a statement that really touched my heart. So you cannot do anything about your past. That one is done, still. But you know, you can change your future by looking and learning from what happened in the past, and not dwelling on that, but using that as a bouncing stone or a bouncing bit, and then just hop into the skies and get to where your future that is far brighter and better is. So forget about what is happening in the past. Whatever you did right, whatever you did wrong, have an appetite for great things ahead of you. So far bigger and better than the past. Holy. Alright then, let's move on straight to the weather front. Let me tell you what is happening on the weather front. I worship you. I came out of the house this morning and I was like, okay, it's a bit milder than it's been of late. So what is going to happen? I worship you. And it says this afternoon will remain dry and fine with plenty of sunshine. There will be some light patchy cloud lingering at times. Tonight there will be a prolonged clear spells at first, and areas of variable cloud will tend to develop overnight, but with a few clear breaks in places too. It will remain dry there as well. Temperature 10 degrees, the lowest is going to be 2 degrees. UV level low, pollution low. Sunset 16:46 and sunrise for tomorrow morning 07:43 hours. So that brings us to the end of the weather forecast. We're going to take a quick break. We come back and I'll take you to the travel. But let me take this opportunity once again to say good morning to Senator Kane and all the team at GHS Housing Estate in Ghana. The promo is going to end tomorrow, so please make sure that you take advantage of that. But wherever you are, let's take this quick commercial break, and once we are done, I'll bring you the travel update. Stay tuned and don't you go away.
Make that move now this festive season to your new home address at GHS Housing Estate. From now to 31st January 2023, we are offering you an amazing 5% buyer's discount on all purchases on our expandable 1, 2, 3 and 4 bedroom detached homes at Cochrane Villa, Pokwase, just 5 minutes drive from the interchange. The Mayflower and the new Hazel Courts at Kuntusi, 20 minutes drive from Achimotamo. Beautiful homes in a serene and gated community with flexible payment plans available. Call us now on 0544 347 980 or 0544 347 981. GHS Housing Estates. View it, love it, own it.
This is STARR Radio UK.
Okay, so keep your eyes on the roads. Keep your eyes on the roads. I'll keep you navigated. I promise I'm on the Star Radio UK travel update that comes to where every day from 10:40. It's now 10:52. Let's crack on. Well, you know, we didn't want you to miss anything on the Prime Minister's statement and interaction there, and that's why we had to allow it to go on for a bit. But hey, it's now time for us to move on. So how is your travels like wherever you are listening to us from this morning? Well, I can tell you shortly on the underground here in London, good service throughout. London Travelling, good service, DLR, London Overground, good service there. Now moving on to the major roads in London, I can tell you shortly, yes, A3, A4, A41, Blackwall Tunnel, Central London Red routes have got closure, so check before you leave. That aside, all the others, no exceptional delays. Now let's move on straight to the Riverbanks, where it's good service throughout there. One reliable means of transport there. And then London Cable Car, good service there as well. Now let's move on to the final segment of the travel update. That is the National Rail. Now on the National Rail this morning, Avanti West Coast, First Transparent Express, Northern Rail, and Southwestern Railway have all got minor delays. Also, Chiltern Railways and Southern Railways have all got special service. So check before you leave. That aside, all the others, no exceptional delays. And on that note, you know what I'm going to say. Good morning, good afternoon, good dawn to you, wherever you might be this morning. Enjoy your comment for today, but you know what? Continue to keep those eyes on the road.
PR Interventions amplifies yours. Organized products and categories for easy access and navigation. Access to global community. Welcome to Gabby Dave Global. We are a UK-based online e-commerce store, the first of its kind with license to trade in African products. Some of the products are clothing brands and all beauty accessories, hair and beauty brands, natural aphrodisiacs, processed and dried unprocessed food. Our mission at Gabby Dave is to connect African and Caribbean businesses to customers globally. At Gabby Dave, we ensure our sellers get the best deal for their products. We are not just here to help you reach a wider audience. We are also a distribution center to support business growth by fulfilling orders to your customers from our warehouse, making sure customers receive their products on time. We are inviting all Black-owned businesses to trade on our platform because we strongly believe Africans have a unique brand the customer would appreciate globally. So get in touch today and let us make your product and business go far. Here are some of the benefits of using Gabby Dave Global. User-friendly platform, track your shipment, online support, transparent process, multiple SKUs, multiple products, a platform that encourages manufacturers as well as traders. Our marketing and PR interventions amplifies yours. Organized products and categories for easy access and navigation. Access to global community, especially within UK and Europe.
All right, welcome back to the program. It is STARR Radio UK. Yes, so if you want a platform where you can do your own sales, those of you in Africa or having African products, and you don't have the opportunity to do it on all these other platforms, then Gabby Dave is a place to be. Okay, now it is time for us to go global trotting because I know Mr. Olayomi Koike is getting himself very, very ready to smash it all on all the fronts when it comes to Nigeria this morning with updates from Nigeria. But hey, information coming through. Now, serious questions for the Prime Minister of Zahawi tax affairs. Now, allies of Rishi Sunak defends this approach as per, my apologies, but the opposition parties asked why he didn't act sooner. Well, he wanted to do diligence to whatever is happening before he goes on that path. But well. Everything that you do, everything that you say, people see it. One person will see it differently from the other. So maybe that's what is happening. But what do you think about all that? More going to be coming your way. At least 28 people have been killed after a blast in Pakistan mosque. Now, more than 150 were injured in an explosion at a mosque in the Pakistani city of Peshawar. Those are some stories making the round. Johnson, Boris says that Putin made missile threat in pre-war call. But how come. Now, coincidentally, it's happening. This interview happened just a few days or a week after that information coming through, saying that the chairman of the BBC happened to be one who guaranteed or linked him up with somebody who guaranteed a loan for him, and he was given that position because of that. Now, what do you think about all that? More going to be coming your way. NHS to get hospital beds and ambulances to tackle delays, but experts warn improvement will be hard to deliver due to vacancies and exhausted staff. Are you an exhausted staff? Well. More going to be coming your way. Now, when it comes to other parts of the world as well, elections. Reps move to arrest Emefiele. Rejects CBS deadline extension on old Naira notes. The committee on Sunday rejected a 2-week extension for the deposit of old Naira notes announced earlier in the day by Mr. Emefiele. My support was for Osibanjo, not Tinubu. Najatu Mohammed is also the DSS arrests syndicates selling new Naira notes. Now, cops disappears from mortuary Ogun Hospital, review CCTV. Yeah, I did see that story where a corpse was found in a hospital cupboard. Now, it's that same story after that discovery and that video went viral. Now, the corpse has vanished. What? Maybe somebody's taking it to heaven or whatever. What do you think? More going to be coming your way on that front when it comes to updates from Nigeria. In other parts of Africa, Tunisia opposition calls for unity against the president after low election turnout. Over 80% of Tunisians did not vote last Sunday in the second round of legislative polls, prompting the country's main opposition coalition to call for unity against the president. Now, if you go for an election, let's say a referendum or whatever it is, like let's take Nigeria's election and see when the election that is going to take place. Now, and we know that, look at the population of Nigeria and you expect that at least, let's say a turnout should be about 60%, and then you end up finding that about less than 50% so went to vote. Would you call that a fair election? Somebody would say that, well, everybody was given opportunity to go and decide whatever they want to. But if people are looking at the threat of like insecurity and therefore decide, no, I don't want to go risk my life for that, and therefore will not go out to go and vote, how will we term it? Putting it, just supposing it with what is happening in Tunisia. Well. It's all coming away from Star Radio UK. I said, Nketia draws Bagbin into reasons for minority reshuffle. Well, what is all that? And this reshuffle that the minority have done, is it going to impact them positively or negatively? I have been asking this question all along. But what do you think? More going to be coming your way from Star Radio UK when we bring you. John Mahama was a young president but still failed Ghanaians, and that's what some critics of the former president are also saying. The fourth estate uncovers fraud in SHS computerized placement. The fourth estate, that is the press. Well, so what is happening there? Education Ministry cautions against payment of money for school placement. Well, so maybe you go pay some money and I sit down by the computer, pum, in front of him. Pum, Achimota, pum, agree, and then you don't pay. Konyako secondary GSS, they finish you. But well, what do you think about all that? More going to be coming your way from that front. It is Star Radio UK. A minute after 11 the time. There's lots of other stories making the round. But look, be rest assured, I'm going to be bringing all that your way in a moment. It is the morning show, the Monday edition. But enjoy this song whilst Mr. Olayomi Koiki gets himself ready to come and bring you updates from Nigeria. This is from Pastor Theodora Boachiansa, and it says everlasting to everlasting. Theodora Gospel. Enjoy.
Before your throne. omnipotent, King of kings, and Lord of lords, we worship you and lift you high. We bow before your throne, oh great I am, omnipotent, King of kings, and Lord of lords, we worship you and lift you high. Your kingdom stands from age to age. From everlasting.
This is Star Radio. This is Star Radio UK.
In your car, at home,
On your smartphone. Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
all around the world. All around the world. In your car, at home.
On your smartphone.
In your car,
At work.
at home.
On your smartphone.
This is Star Radio. This is Star Radio UK.
Are you ready to turn it up?
Flower that never fades.
Star Radio.
Radio for the people.
By
Kingdom come,
We call you Emmanuel.
Emmanuel, Adonai.
You are the first.
You are the first
The Alpha and Omega.
and the last.
Where we bow down and worship you.
We worship you
And we lift you high.
and lift you high. Kingdom stand from age to age. From everlasting to everlasting.
Your kingdom reigns from age to age, from everlasting to everlasting. Theodore Abuachi answer, Pastor. I'm saying good morning to Olakunle. Hey, how are you doing, young man? Hope you are doing good. Thank God Nigeria is not happening to any one of us. And the sad stories that is happening. Lots of auto accidents, motor accidents. Truck falling on a commercial vehicle, killing 8. And 2 killed in also another crash in Bauchi State. And 11 burned to death in Ondo road accident as well. So when it comes to road safety in Nigeria as well, at least if we failed in other places, why are we not achieving? Why are we not? Well, lots more going to be coming your way from there. It is Star Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London.
To everlasting.
Make that move now, this festive season, to your new home address at GHS Housing Estates. From now to 31st January 2023, we are offering you an amazing 5% buyer's discount on all purchases on our expandable 1, 2, 3 and 4 bedroom detached homes at Cochrane Villa, Pokwase, just 5 minutes drive from the interchange. The Mayflower and the new Hazel Courts at Kuntusi, 20 minutes drive from Achimatamo. Beautiful homes in a serene and gated community with flexible payment plans available. Call us now on 0544 347 980 or 0544 347 981. GHS Housing Estates. View it, love it, own it. Make that move now, this festive season, to your new home address at GHS Housing Estates. From now to 31st January 2023, we are offering you an amazing 5% buyer's discount on all purchases on our expandable 1, 2, 3 and 4 bedroom detached homes at Cochrane Villa, Pokwase, just 5 minutes drive from the interchange. The Mayflower and the new Hazel Courts at Kuntusi, 20 minutes drive from Achimatamo. Beautiful homes in a serene and gated community with flexible payment plans available. Call us now on 0544 347 980 or 0544 347 981. GHS Housing Estates. View it, love it, own it.
Well, listeners, it is Star Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Bringing the time now to exactly 10 minutes past the top of the hour. And it is the last day for the GHS Housing Estate promo. And therefore, as I did say earlier on, you want to take advantage of it and make sure that you get that 5% buyer's discount. Make sure you do so. You get in touch with them, and I mean your contact details were put across. Just get in touch with them and they'll help you a great deal. It'll be something that an investment worthwhile. Okay, but it's now time for me to bring you the White Lion himself, the one and only Mr. Olayomi Koiki. And this morning here, prepared to just bring you what is happening in Nigeria. Yomi, let me say good morning to you.
Well, a very good morning to you back in the studio, and I hope you can hear me loud and clear.
Loud and clear, loud and clear. How are you and how was your weekend?
Well, the weekend was beautiful as usual. We have quite a lot of, time with the family, which is, they say family is very, very important. And we did have a bit of time over the weekend. It's good to be back again. The children were up this morning, a little bit tired. But again, not the iPad. It's time for school. The weather was a bit cold. The buses were packed, but we were lucky to get the second one. So it seems that the message last week that we need more buses to be running during the school time is already working as well. It is quite down. The weekend was full of different news across Nigeria as well. We'll be touching on some of them this morning. But how was your weekend as well?
My weekend was fine as well. Busy running for various meetings and events as well. So I woke up this morning and I was like, I'm tired. I said, no. We have people that we love, that we want to always interact with. So we have to be here. And that is why we are here. And I know the same applies to you as well.
Well, yeah, you're quite right. We love to do what we do, and this is what we do best. Bringing the news across the globe, whether it's in Africa, Asia, and making sure that all our listeners are ready to take the week from us. And I say good morning, good afternoon to those that have joined us. It is 1 hour ahead for those in Nigeria, but those of us in the UK is still 1 hour behind. It's exactly 12 minutes past, and I'll slightly come back again to you in the studio, Mr. Archie.
Yes, listeners, Mr. Olayomi Koiki, bringing you updates from Nigeria from our North London studios, and I'm Archie here. And this morning, we're going to make sure we bring you everything that you need to know. So just get yourself geared up. But let's hop on straight. Because we did talk about transportation, we were talking about the fact that this morning the children were going to school, you were able to hop on the bus, we don't say that accidents don't happen, it has happened. Here we've seen accidents, but whenever there is an accident, even when it happens at a particular road, there's been an accident on it, maybe a car knocking down people, then they quickly come and say, no, we're reducing the speed limit here, putting cameras and everything. So they do their best to minimize disruption, accident, death, and stuff like that. But if you look at the 3 letter stories that this morning you put across, the 11 burnt to death in Ondo road accident. 2 people have been killed in a fatal crash that occurred in Miya Bakati along Toro Jos Road as well. And then a truck falling on a commercial vehicle. So you ask yourself, what exactly is going on? It's just a weekend. And can you just imagine how many people who have lost their lives due to road accidents?
Well, it was a really dark, day for Nigerians back home yesterday because 3 different states and there was so much loss of lives. Let's go straight to Bauchi State. There was a fatal road accident that led to 30 individuals, human beings, that probably were traveling for different reasons. 2 vehicles, one is a private commercial vehicle and the other one is also a private vehicle, but definitely according to the FRC, one was running faster and eventually led to that accident. 30 innocent lives died in Bauchi State according to the Bauchi State sector of the command of the Federal Road Safety Corps that confirmed the incident. 2 people have been something that we always talked about. Let's go back to Ondo State. Ondo State is in the southwest of Nigeria, and again 11 people were burnt to ashes on what we call a road accident as well in Ondo State. What do we know so far? Ondo State is meant to be the 2nd largest bitumen in the world. But if you look at the current state of things in Ondo State today, the roads are not motorable, and likewise again there's a lot of impact that could lead to accident. Controlling of either the vehicle is also motorable. 11 people have died in an auto accident in Ore town along the Benin-Shagamu Expressway in Odigbo local government area of Ondo State. The victims of the accident were said to have been burnt beyond recognition as the vehicles involved caught fire. According to the Ondo State Command again of the Federal Road Safety Corps, Mr. Ezekiel confirmed the accident in a telephone conversation on the ground. He said the accident occurred again as a result of overspeeding and part of the drivers of 2 vehicles involved. Let's come back to Lagos State. Lagos State that Tinubu says he has done his best. Ambode came, he has done his best. Sanwo-Olu came, he has done his best. It is not the first time that we are getting accident happening in Lagos State, but the one that occurred seems to be a continuous one, which is the same precise location, and again precise part of what happened is a container that has fallen onto another vehicle. I mean, for those that might probably not understand, we'll try and if we can bring a picture for those that are watching us. The engineers are working on that. Let's take a look at a 40-foot container. Imagine a 40-foot container dropping on the head of another vehicle, and that container is fully loaded, with all kind of different materials. And again, even if there was going to be a rescue, it will be too late. That is exactly what the vehicle looks like. 8 people lost their life. 1 survived. These happened in Ojo-Elegba in the southwest Lagos State. A truck fell on a commercial bus at Ojo-Elegba in Ward Fadeyi in Lagos State on Sunday, claiming 8 lives. Again, according to the Lagos State Traffic Management Authority, officials who were seen trying to rescue the victim. It was just too late. We can't show some of the videos, but one of the victims, probably maybe the one that survived or the one that did survive, we could see movement still happening while the container was right onto the vehicle. The container laden truck has fallen at the bus stop at Ojo-Elegba in Ward Fadeyi, and as we say, may Nigeria not happen to us. Are all these something that could be avoided is the question that a lot of Nigerians will be asking. They are avoidable, but it seems the government of today says they've tried their best, and it seems that politics is exactly what is in their mind on how election will hold rather than saving the lives of millions of Nigerians.
Wow, it's scary looking at that footage behind you. But my question is, do you think that if government is trying to implement, rules and health and safety issues, and we're putting it across to make sure that such occurrences are brought to the barest minimum, citizens will agree to that, because people are thinking that, well, if we don't cut corners, we cannot make it. So people are trying to cut corners so that they can just survive. And cutting corners is causing people to lose their lives. So, I mean, catch-22 situation. What do you think?
Well, cutting corners, could mean a lot of things to anybody. I mean, people try to cut corners, especially when you have the cowboy builders that bring, chaos into your home, hoping that you are trying to save money. But what we can say is, these accidents were caused, by human factors, and the human factor is somebody was overdriving more than the legal speed limit. Let's give an example. I was in Stratford. I remember, when we had that conversation. Was it Friday?
Friday, yeah, last Friday, yeah.
Friday.
Yeah.
And on my way going, I could see the traffic police stopped, and what were they doing? There was a particular vehicle that was parked in a complete different, location that he has meant to park. They don't have to see the driver. They can automatically issue a ticket and be guaranteed that that ticket will be paid or be contested by the driver. But in Nigeria today, it means that everything is done on a paperwork and the analog stage. So the drivers that are trying to cut corners should have been picked up by a camera, before they get to where they can create havoc. Or sometimes, like you said, cutting corners means that more Nigerians are unable to fix that vehicle that they are driving on, and you might be entering a vehicle that does not have a brake.
Wow, we say may their souls rest in perfect peace. But we hope that the authorities will look at this and know that they have to do something about what is happening, because life is precious. Life is very, very precious, and everyone's life counts or matters. Well, it is STARR Radio UK. Now let's move on to some other stories, updates from Nigeria. Reps move to arrest Emefiele. What are you talking about?
Well, tomorrow will have been the deadline. I mean, I still have some of my Naira note here, but I'm not worried whether it gets to Nigeria in time before the circulation of the new Naira note that is not in there. But more Nigerians are trying to get, the new note. And yes, the headline comes up to say that it seems that Emefiele is still in a big soup, even though over the weekend, maybe the joy that election has been the Naira has been kind of moved, from, those that will probably be thinking that, they might not have enough time to change that 1,000 Naira, the 500 Naira, and the 200 Naira note. But something seems to be bothering, the reps, and they're still trying every move to arrest Emefiele. They've also rejected the Central Bank of Nigeria deadline on the extension on the old Naira note, which was released yesterday when there was a lot of pressure. Remember that Tinubu was saying the same thing in Abeokuta, saying that, it seems that his government, even though it was pointed, I mean, we're trying to figure out, if he keeps saying that, there's a skepticism, to destroy his ambition to become the president, and that skepticism should definitely be going to President Muhammadu Buhari, that has actually changed the Naira note. Petrol crisis is still going on in Nigeria, but the reps still want Emefiele to be arrested. According to the committee yesterday, I've rejected a 2-week extension for the deposit of the old Naira note and announced earlier in the day yesterday by Emefiele. Now, what do we know? The House of Representatives Committee on the recolored Naira note says it will go ahead to sign an arrest warrant against the Central Bank Governor Godwin Emefiele. In a statement that was issued by the chairman of the ad hoc committee, Alassane Ado-Dugua, said the 10-day extension for exchange of the old Naira note is not the solution. We, as the legislative that does not even have respect for the Nigerians in the first place, want now the CBN governor to come and give them the respect that they deserve. We, as the legislative committee, with the constitutional mandate of the House, would only accept a clear compliance with Section 20, Sub 3, 3, 4, and 5 of the CBN Act, and nothing more. He added that Nigeria, as a developing economy and in the center democracy, must respect the principle of the rule of law. This same legislative does not respect the rule of law that President Muhammadu Buhari refused to release Mazi Nnamdi Kanu after the court has actually, annulled all the crimes against, that was on top of him. That has been something that the representative are not doing. But they feel that Emefiele needs to come and speak to them. And if Emefiele is not coming, the next thing is they will issue an arrest warrant. The chairman also described the extension as a mere political gimmick to further deceive Nigerians and worsen the economy and the social livelihood. Well, there's no economy in Nigeria because according to Moody that we have been following throughout my program today, Moody has actually rated Nigeria economy to be in a worse shape. We'll be discussing that as there's more trouble for Nigeria as again Moody downgraded Nigeria credit rating. Star Radio UK, your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London, the 30th of January. I'll slightly come again to you back in the studio, Mr. Archie.
Well, listen at Star Radio UK. Interesting developments there. But Yomi, do you think that, first of all, what was the purpose of the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria changing or replacing the old notes with these new ones? What was the purpose? Is it that the thing that
the president actually said the reason for that is because of the terrorism. It seems that more Nigerians, probably not the average Nigerians anyway, because average Nigerians do not have 3 square meal, but some have, the elite, the wealthy one, have taken advantage. But it's more to focus on terrorism. But I'm not too sure. But there was a story coming out from Nigeria that the 3 million that was deposited, or not deposited, that was actually given to the terrorists was rejected. They wanted the new Naira note.
Yeah, I even saw, on the page that we belong to, I saw some of the the new Naira notes that some of the
being colored. Yeah, they actually put it. There's a dye material that it's not advisable to do so. It's illegal. But more people are saying now if you're struggling to get the new Naira note, you can actually put it in a blue dye, and then it could change the color. And there's already the fake 1,000 Naira note as we speak already in circulation as well.
Wow, I think this one is
nobody to do with that.
Wow.
Somebody say nobody to do with that.
Nobody to do with that. All right then. Listen, let's start Radio UK. I'm just from Nigeria, 11:25 the time. With Mr. Laimi Koikin and North London studios. I'm actually here in the studio. Let's come to the Moody's grading of Nigeria's economy. Because we are looking up this morning where people have woken up this morning. Their kids have to go to school. They don't have the money to pay their fees, because there's no free education there, and therefore these kids are just walking on the roads. Those who are selling things on the roads, which makes it quite serious and can bring about accident, insecurity, and everything that is going on there. Now, what ratings has Moody's given to Nigeria, and what has the presidency or the government come to say about that?
Well, this came out just 3 days ago on the 27th, but I just got the document myself sent to me yesterday. Moody, is for those that probably will not understand. I actually did a program earlier this morning explaining that that Nigeria is in a big mess because it seems that there's a pressure on the local currency and likewise also the foreign currency. Lai Mohammed has not responded yet. He's too busy at the moment, but I'm sure they'll be responding as usual to either reject this or not. But we do know that the federal government continue to borrow money to run the operation of Nigeria. But the concern of Modi is, are we going to have enough money to fund the 2023 budget is the question. So Moody Investor Services has downgraded Nigerians' rating as the global credit rating agency expert. The government fiscal and debt position, the debt ratio of Nigeria is going into almost 70-something trillion, and we are not yet been able to pay the debt. All we are doing is we are still servicing the debt with 80% of the income coming into the country. And some of the project that has been used to, to run the loans that we're taking from China, either the Arab countries or, the World Bank, is part of the derail of the rail network. The one like Abuja Kaduna, there was one again over the weekend that actually, collapsed, along the line. The one in, so it seems that the project that is being used to borrow the money to fund the project in Nigeria is also not, up to 1 year, and it's currently going into a lot of problems. As the nation's capacity to weather the storms remains eroded by the deep-seated institutional vulnerability, the social challenges, the agency now rates the country a level lower at CAA1, sinking Nigeria deeper into its non-investment grade from the country previous and worsening rate of B3. So it seems that we have left the B3, we have actually now dropped a little bit to CAA1 for those that probably understand that, But the last October rating agency downgraded the Nigerian's local currency and the foreign currency long-term issue rating as well as its former currency. Moody as a stable outlook on the country. This was the statement that was issued on Friday. The latest sovereign rating echoes the one by Fitch in November, which similarly lowered Nigeria's rating by one level at B, placing it 6 notch above default on a par with Angola and Ecuador. So Nigeria is currently now being compared with Angola and Ecuador. Star Radio UK, your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. I'll return back to you again, Mr. Archie.
Now, so do you mean to say that with all the loans that they are taking for various contracts, Nigerians are not getting value for money? That's what you seem to be saying.
Well, I mean, if we're getting value for money, probably maybe the second-hand train services that were brought into the country would have probably been better if we have used that money to buy maybe one and then probably use that to run that project. Most of the money that we've been taken from Nexim Bank, most of the road projects that should have been completed. Yes, there are some projects that have been completed, but they're also concerned whether those projects will last the amount of years. I mean, that it should have been serviced, that should have been used for the purpose. And we still have to be paying the debt, even though we are not paying the debt yet. We are just servicing the debt. So the real actual loan that was taken has not yet been touched. All we are doing is we are still paying the interest, and more Nigerians are going into more abject poverty, as of today Nigeria still remains the capital poverty of the world. Over the weekend, more Nigerians are still yet able to buy petrol in their vehicle, and most vehicles have now been abandoned at each of the petrol stations across the country. Star Radio UK.
The 6th largest crude oil production country in the world. Interesting. Well, listen, that's Star Radio UK. Now, what about the western borders? Has it been opened? Because we are looking at the moment there is a movement and there is a trade or commerce going on, then we know that money is coming in and the taxes, government will be making money. But has the western borders been opened so far?
Well, the western border were opened after a deliberate act by the federal government to close such borders for a very long period of time. But they have actually been opened, but there are still a lot of complaints, because goods and services are not flowing as much as it's meant to be, even though in the northern part of the country, with evidence-based, we do know the influx of terrorism floating into the country. And that is giving a lot of concern to so many international bodies that in October last year, America actually requested the evacuation of all their staff due to the intelligence of ISIS operating in Nigeria. And we do know that they are still operating because in the last couple of weeks, more news are still coming from ISIS operation in Nigeria, and that is giving a lot of concern. I'm just looking at the business standard total from bombing in the central Nigeria has actually risen to 40%. Herders and farmers central Nigeria have been clashing over grazing, and the U.S. designated ISIS leader in Somalia was killed. But thinking about the persecution in Nigeria, it isn't what it is. Even the Pope actually commiserated with one of the a Reverend Father that was killed in another part of Nigeria last week.
Wow. Now I'm thinking that if we are looking at, where terrorists are coming from, they are not coming from the western border. So why is the government not placing stringent measures in place in the northern border or borders where we know that this is where the people are coming into the country from, but rather being stringent on the west, stopping people from trading, just going about commercial activities where we know that they are not coming from there? Why is government doing so?
Well, all the previous government have not been able to do locking down the porous border. So you can literally, if you know your route, get into Nigeria and then start living in Nigeria without anybody asking for identification. We do know that people live here as well, but depending on how you get here. But at some point, you would have where either if you're going to take your children to school, identification will be requested, or at a random you might be, unlucky where a bus gets stopped or whatever. But in Nigeria today, it's not just this government. Let's take back to from 1999 when Olusegun Obasanjo became the president. All this reason also boils down to the fraudulent 1999 constitution that has been used rather than giving the room for state police, and we could have been able to identify the different atrocities happening. But you're quite right, most of the up north border has been open, and yet we've not been able to seal them, and the more influx of people coming in, the more problem is generating for an average Nigerian, whether in the southeast, the middle belt. Governor Otom says again that for the last 4 years he has not been able to pay a visit to President Muhammadu Buhari, and the reason for that is he believes that as one of those that is also as a president, also the leader of the Fulani is not going well in line with the atrocity that he has rejected, that the president definitely is aware of all the atrocity happening within the boundary of Benue State. And we saw that as much as that is happening, Benue State is meant to be the food basket of Nigeria. I was actually, asking my wife why we had 5 yams in the house. Maybe we're doing fine yam festival. But these yams are not coming from Nigeria anymore. They're coming from Ghana. Yeah. But we do have Benue State, where the Benue yam, from what we have learned, during growing up in Nigeria, is one of the best yam. But today, the whole part of Benue State has now been wreckaged by the Fulani terrorists, which says they own Nigeria.
Well, listeners, it is STARR Radio UK updates from Nigeria with Mr. Olayomi Koike. I'm Archie here in the South Studios, and I'm saying good morning to Akin Tunde Odua. It's a good afternoon, house, and I hope we all had a nice weekend. Yes. I believe so. We all had a nice weekend. Nigeria didn't happen to us, and that's why we are here this morning. But it's updates from Nigeria, and we'll go back to Yomi for the rest of the stories making the rounds. Will the election hold? How many days more? Let me say 25 plus, let's say 1 day more, so 26 days. Will the election hold?
Well, February 25th has been set for the election, and as more conversation around that continue, the question is, will election hold? The British High Commission, Katrina Lang, actually released a video on, again, Friday, ahead of the hashtag Nigeria Decide 2023. Listen to the message from our High Commissioner, Katrina Lang, on PVC collection, which end Sunday. But that has also been extended. But there's also a response, from the spokesman of the Biafra, Simon Ekpa, to continue to show our readiness to stop anything in Nigeria. In Biafra land, February 6, 2023 will be a ghost town, sit at home across Biafra land to counter Nigerian INEC plan, mark accreditation in Biafra land. Anything Nigeria supervise remain banned in the Biafra land as well. Also, there's been a lot of response to so many Nigerians underneath the British High Commission, and one is coming from Sammy Boy. How many times does the Nigerian government be involved in the UK elections or politics? You just want to continue enslaving the African people and enjoying our resources in your country. Mazi Ifeanyi Chukwu also say, Madam, despite the only advice I am giving you is to leave Nigeria, because if you don't, I'm going to say the rest of it as well. Ebuka also say non-election Biafra land. As I speak to you right now, on my right-hand screen here, there is also the ongoing of the Yoruba Nation peaceful rally going ahead in Ibadan, as more Nigerians are saying that it will be better for the indigenous people to have the last spoken, but it seems that the Western world still believe an election should go ahead. NANS wants all tertiary institutions to be shut down until after election. Now, we do know that the majority of population in Nigeria are the youth, according to the Nigerian Association of Students, want all tertiary. Association stress that the shutdown will allow students to obtain their PVC. The National Association of Nigerian Students have asked President Muhammadu Buhari to temporarily shut down all tertiary institutions until after the February 25th and March 11 election, as we have it on the headline. Let's go straight to more other headline at 11:37 this morning. Abuja Kaduna train services resume after suspension is coming from the headline as well this morning. Also, Buhari appoint Dogara as the new NYSC DG. Governor Yaya Bello begins Tinubu Shetima presidential campaign is also one of the headlines as well. Let's go straight. DSS also arrests syndicate that are selling the new Naira note. Imagine that you have to pay money to get the new Naira note as well. Government appointment loop-sided, lack merit. Obasanjo Ekeremadu in court on Tuesday after 233 days. So it seems that Ike Keremadu will be returning again. We're not sure whether he will appear or he's going to be coming through the video link. But the former deputy president of the Senate, Ike Keremadu, will on Tuesday appear again in the court in the United Kingdom, which he has been accused of human trafficking. The lawmaker was arrested in June 2022 at Heathrow Airport, London, after a state police station received a report from a young man claiming to have been trafficked into the UK. The young man who made the report shortly after arriving in UK from Nigeria also alleged that he was made to undergo some medical tests, none of which he consented to it. We know that Ike Keremadu was arraigned before a magistrate high court and later was taken into the High Court, where he's currently waiting for the trial. His wife is still here, but on bail. But the court refused to allow Ike Keremadu to go on bail in the hope that he might run away, just as one Nigerian politician dressed as a woman and was able to escape some of the atrocity that he was meant to have faced here in UK. So the UK government is not taking any chances in bailing him. But we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, but we're going to be following that story again. Let me return back again to you. When we come back, we go straight to the social media to discuss what is happening on the social media network. This morning, the 30th of January 2023.
Yes, listeners, Mr. Olayomi Koiki, updates from Nigeria. Now let's come to the shutting down of tertiary institutions by the call from the nuns. Why have the government not hearkened to that? And again, the second question is that there's an issue going on. Is it in Tunisia? Or yes, I think in Tunisia, where they said that there was an election yesterday, and the turnout was only 20% of the people who went out to vote. And people the opposition are calling for a stand against the government because they think that 20% does not represent the number of people in the country. 20% is too small a number to say that they have decided for them. With that particular part of the world, we can say that there's no insecurity per se. But when it comes to Nigeria, we see insecurity that is going on, and therefore let's take a typical example of people in Borno State where we know the insecurity is rife there. Now, why, if somebody decides, no, look, we don't want to go out because we know that there is a tendency that our lives will be taken and stuff like that, wouldn't go. Do you think that if 20% of Nigerians decide to vote, will that election be upheld?
The election, in terms of the breakdown, is very, very difficult, for us to get the actual what will be the final end of whatever is going to be the outcome should the election go ahead. Even without the full comprehensive of the polling unit result, which a lot of people are already having the feels. Even Australia is having the feel. The UK and other countries as well are concerned that election might not take place. Not just in the southeast, as a lot of people are thinking, in the north part of the country, the ravaging of the terrorism that is going on in Nigeria today might not allow some polling unit to conduct a full election. But the question you ask is, with the less percentage that will come back, it will then depend on what is the total number that is coming back. Let's take a look at it. If we have about probably maybe 1 million people voting across the country, or probably let's say 20 million, and out of that 20 million, then you have to now divide who has taken the largest share out of the 20 million. Will the other political party accept the result? Already PDP is also saying that it seems that APC Bola Tinubu is trying to create havoc, from one of their statements last week, because they are not accepting, certain things that is currently going on as we speak right now. We saw the PDP in Lagos State moving around with weapons, also creating havoc. But I'm just looking at the headline coming up now. One of the Labour Party candidates says, I will ban Agbero as some of the thugs used by the same politician to oppress, to molest African Nigerians, whether in the southeast, in the north, but most especially in Lagos State and Oyo State.
Well, Listeners, interesting one. Now, when it comes to the peace pact that was signed, I remember Sowore was there and made a statement that he think that it was something that would not work or something. Now, what did all the main, let me call them.
You just take me off for just about a minute, and I'll come back.
Okay.
See, because the other broadcast needs to be a little bit adjusted. Thank you.
Yes, listeners, just bear with us. But the question that I was posing to Mr. Olayomi Koike is that with the peace pact that has been signed by the various political leaders, do you think that will actually, forestall peace when this election takes place? Because looking at everything that seems to be going on at the moment, I beg to differ that Nigeria will have a peaceful election, because we have people who are not ready. We know people who say we don't want to go and vote at all. People, and there are others who want to go and vote. However, because of insecurity and everything that is going on, they might decide that, you know what, we don't want to go and risk our lives for that purpose. And looking at the people, the Agbero, people that the APC is saying that they're going to stop. Now, can they actually do that? Would we have the security agencies in that place actually seeing to it that people can just come in peacefully, vote, and leave that place and go perfectly, nothing happening to them? What do you think about all that? Let me say good morning to Aziz Badasarik. He says, good morning, Mr. Archie. It's been a long time. Yes, my brother, I hope you are doing very, very well. But let's go to Yomi and let's see whether maybe he has some response to that for us, because it's quite a difficult time. I don't know 26 days whether that election is going to hold on at all. So the peace pact, what has happened? Did the main
the peace pact still remains as it is. It's just imagine one of those that created the real problem of Nigeria, Abdul Salam Abubakar, not talking about peace pact. He designed these fraudulent military decree 1999 constitution. Is not talking about peace pact among all different people that believe that election will save Nigeria. Are we going to see the election being conducted on that same day or being shifted? There's a lot of information. I know that the last one was moved for another 2 weeks to prepare, all kind of contingency plan. But the question is, nobody today can guarantee that the 2023 general election, even if it goes ahead, will be peaceful. Even if it goes ahead, will give the result that will determine who become the next president. And even if it goes ahead, will still bring the unity of Nigeria or Nigerians as we speak today.
Well, listeners, interesting developments there. Moses, hey, he says, Archie and Olayomi, hi, well done, my good active guys. And thank you very much, you guys. If you are not there, what's the purpose of we coming here to come and be, mouthing out? But because you are there and you are listening to us and you're supporting us, that's why we are here. And I say thank you to each and every one of you, especially those of you in a part of the world where it costs you an arm and a leg to buy data, and yet you do that to listen and to view us. Thank you. Now, Yomi, can you tell me a bit, or tell our listeners just on this platform a bit about the ongoing rally that you were talking about?
Well, as more engagement continue in the peaceful direction from the leader of the Yoruba Self-Determination Group, Professor Adebanji Akintoye, he says that the protest of the Yoruba people will continue on the street of the Yoruba land, even in as much as we saw where the Lagos state government did. He actually granted an interview over the weekend, and in that interview he says quote that the case of the death of that innocent person would also be taken up, and the consequence of that will come back to those that are meant to have protected innocent Yoruba people from asking for their right to protest. So the one in Ibadan have actually just ended, but I believe probably maybe they're still ongoing there. But we do know that there's a lot of engagement going on. Yesterday, on Saturday, there was also a program that went ahead where the Think Yoruba Force were asking the question, where will the Yoruba people be in the next 200 years? It was a very, very powerful conversation, with a lot of intellectual. It lasted for almost 5 hours, and the question was a 2023 London conference, which took place over the weekend. In 200 years from now, will Yoruba race and identity still exist? One of those that were present at that particular conversation is Mr. Dele Ogun, is a barrister here. He actually gave a very powerful speech at the Liberal House in London, where he took us through, what next after the death of Queen Elizabeth II. A question on the Twitter this morning, as we go into the Twitter slightly, Onyechi was actually saying, I've noticed that the Igbo and the Yoruba nationalists respect each other more than the one Nigerianist. And Dele Ogun was actually responding, the new generation of the Igbo and the Yoruba are getting the message that they are the fellow travelers heading to their respective homes who are being held up by the one Nigerianist.
Wow, listen, STARR Radio UK. We know that our time is far spent, but let's go to Yomi for what is happening on social media platform. Some more from there. Over to you, Yomi.
Well, social media is the only way that Nigerian can respond to what is happening. Hashtag Peter Obi for president is trending at number 2. Ambode is trending. Ambode was the former governor as well. Oyo State is actually trending as well. We do know that there's a rally going on there, but I'm not too sure whether that is the only reason why Oyo State is trending. They're still in a lot of ongoing situation, but it seems that Seyi Makinde, the governor, attended the Fresh FM, Ibadan Blast FM town hall meeting. As we do know, this is the time that the politicians move around. Imagine that, the Oyo State governor, as part of the 5G governor, still hasn't backed Atiku. So nobody knows what is going to happen in Nigeria in the next couple of days, before the election. But we do know also that the new Naira note is not available. But right in front of me, some are already spending such money in large quantity in the Yoruba party that they love to do as much. Oshodi is trending as well. Oshodi is part of the southwest of Nigeria in Lagos State. And again, how Oshodi looks on Tuesday, April 22, 2003. Did you experience Oshodi during that period of time? I mean, if you are not careful, you might be walking and your leg is not touching the ground in Oshodi. It hasn't changed much, but there has been a lot of different development that has happened there as well. I actually saw a video where people were trying to get into the ATM. The reason for that again is more Nigerians have not been able to get money, and if you go in and pay in the old currency, you are getting again the old currency on the ATM. I'm not sure why, but all this is what is going on in Nigeria, and we were going to end it there because of the time constraint. Good morning once again. I'll come back to you now finally, Archie in the studio.
Yes, Yomi, let me say thank you very much for this wonderful update, and I say have a lovely day. We catch up later.
Bye for now.
Bye-bye. Well, listeners, let me bring you my favorite song now. From Jeanette. Is it already Demi? Aziz Badasari say Yoruba land must be free by all means necessary. And I bring you this song because I know those of you who are still having the going on the rally. Yes, you need some encouragement, right? And I'm here to bring you that. So enjoy this song, and I'll be with you in a moment. Stay tuned and don't touch the dial.
Ni mo fẹ́ o, èmi fòmìnira forílẹ̀-èdè Yorùbá. Mi ò polongo fáráyé, èmi ò sọ nípa orílẹ̀-èdè yóò. Ohun tí mo fẹ́ ni mo fẹ́ o, èmi fòmìnira forílẹ̀-èdè Yorùbá. orílẹ̀-èdè mi. Ohun tí mo fẹ́ ni mo fẹ́ o. Èmi fòmìnira orílẹ̀-èdè Yorùbá. Mi ò polongo fáráyé. Èmi ò sọ nípa orílẹ̀-èdè yóò. Ohun tí mo fẹ́ ni mo fẹ́ o. Èmi fòmìnira orílẹ̀-èdè Yorùbá. Ìlú tán lọ́rùn fẹ́ lọ lọ́rùn yọ. Èyí tó yàn ló tún ṣe lọ́gàn. Bàbá fẹ́ wá, ó tún yàn wá. Wọ́n ṣe wá lógo, ó tún wá fá ló mọ̀ ní sí. Èmi yóò polongo fáráyé. Èmi yóò sọ nípa orílẹ̀-èdè mi. Ohun tí mo fẹ́ ni mo fẹ́ o. Èmi fòmìnira orílẹ̀-èdè Yorùbá. Mi ò polongo fáráyé. Èmi yóò sọ nípa orílẹ̀-èdè yóò. Ohun tí mo fẹ́ ni mo fẹ́ o. Èmi fòmìnira orílẹ̀-èdè Yorùbá. Ọmọ Olúmídé jọ̀wọ́ má ṣe wòran mọ́. Ìyà ìsọ̀kẹ́ pọ̀pọ̀ jù lórílẹ̀-èdè. Ṣé bí wọ́n ló gbé àwọn ebèrú níjà? Bàbá mi dìde jọ̀wọ́ jẹ́rìí ara rẹ̀. Èmi ò polongo fáráyé. Èmi ò sọ nípa orílẹ̀-èdè yóò. Ohun tí mo fẹ́ ni mo fẹ́ o. Èmi fòmìnira orílẹ̀-èdè Yorùbá. Èmi ò polongo fáráyé. Èmi ò polongo orílẹ̀-èdè mi. Ẹ bá mi sọ̀rọ̀ ìtùnú sílẹ̀ Yorùbá. Èmi ò fẹ́ o. Àní ọmọ aládé jẹun mìíràn. Ọmọ olówó wáyé ṣàpẹ́. Ọmọ aláṣọ wáyé wọn kì í sá. Ọmọ alágbẹ̀dẹ wáyé sunkún ẹrù. Òye pa wá bí ẹni pẹ̀rọ. Òye tún wá tàbẹ́ ní.
Welcome to Gabby Dave Global. We are a UK-based online e-commerce store, the first of its kind with license to trade in African products. Some of the products are clothing brands and all beauty accessories, hair and beauty brands, natural aphrodisiacs, processed and dried unprocessed food. Our mission at Gabby Dave is to connect African and Caribbean businesses to customers globally. At Gabby Dave, we ensure our sellers get the best deal for their products. We are not just here to help you reach a wider audience. We are also a distribution center to support business growth by fulfilling orders to your customers from our warehouse, making sure customers receive their products on time. We are inviting all Black-owned businesses to trade on our platform because we strongly believe Africans have a unique brand the customer would appreciate globally. So get in touch today and let us make your product and business go far. Here are some of the benefits of using Gabby Dave Global. User-friendly platform, track your shipment, online support, transparent process, multiple SKUs, multiple products, a platform that encourages manufacturers as well as traders. Our marketing and PR interventions amplifies yours. Organized products and categories for easy access and navigation. Access to global community, especially within UK and Europe. Welcome to Gabby Dave Global.
Your new home address at GHS Housing Estate. From now to 31st January 2023, we are offering you an amazing 5% buyer's discount on all purchases on our expandable 1, 2, 3 and 4 bedroom detached homes at Cochrane Villa, Pokwase, just 5 minutes drive from the interchange. The Mayflower and the new Hazel Courts at Kuntusi, 20 minutes drive from Achimatamo. Beautiful homes in a serene and gated community with flexible payment plans available. Call us now on 0544 347 980 or 0544 347 981. GHS Housing Estates. View it, love it, own it. Make that move now this festive season to your new home address at GHS House and Estates. From now to 31st January 2023, we are offering you an amazing 5% buyer's discount on all purchases on our expandable 1, 2, 3 and 4 bedroom detached homes at Cochrane Villa, Pokwase, just 5 minutes drive from the interchange. The Mayflower and the new Hazel Courts at Kuntusi, 20 minutes drive from Achimotamo. Beautiful homes in a serene and gated community with flexible payment plans available. Call us now on 0544 347 980 or 0544 347 981. GHS Housing Estates. View it, love it, own it.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email and phone number. That's it, you're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR, S for star, R for radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
Welcome back to the program. It is Star Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Now bringing the time now to exactly just a few seconds to 12. So let me announce the lines open. Now if you want to call us on 0208-133-2257 or 5802-08133-2257 or 58. Now if you happen to be in the US, Canada or the Caribbean area, it is 001-718-303-2737. 001-718-303-2737. And I can tell you assuredly that I'm going to make sure you enjoy whatever is going on. You add your voice to it, as others have done so on the social media platforms, the various platforms that we are broadcasting on. So let me say once again, thank you very, very much. But now let's move on to some of the other stories making the rounds in other parts of the world. Well, the Tunisian opposition have called for unity against the president after lower election turnout, and that was a question that I posed to Mr. Olayomi Koiki pertaining to the Nigerian election, that if because of insecurity there's a lower turnout, what will the results be like? How would it be seen? Would it be upheld? But well, let's see. In Tunisia, official initial results after voting ended in Tunisia on Sunday highlighted that just 11.3% of voters had taken part in the poll. Now, the country's main opposition coalition, which includes the Islamist-inspired Ennahda, united front against President Kais Saied. Now, I call on all those who are part of the political movement and those who are in the civil movement to rise to the new challenge ahead of us. Now, let's join hands to work for change in the form of Kais Saied's departure. Ahmed Najib Chebi, head of National Salvation Front, said. Now, almost 90% of rather 89% of Tunisians voters ignored the fast and refused to be involved in this coup d'etat scenario that does not represent them at all, he exclaimed. The latest poll was seen as the final pillar of Said's transformation of politics after he had the constitution rewritten to give more power to the president. Now, Sunday's poor participation follows a similar turnout in December first round. So what do you think and how do you see this result? What is it? I mean, remember the Arab Spring that took place some few years back. Now, we were talking about the fact that, well, that brought about like a sweep of change, okay, or a wave of change over the Arab lands. And then we saw people like Said coming in and all that stuff. But looking at the way he's gone about things, As I said, I mean, if somebody is a president or a leader of a country, the opposition always want to find faults with it. Rarely will you see an opposition person singing the praise of the incumbent. Rarely will you see that. Okay, so if you say, oh, I've got this nice pen and it's good, I mean, it can write up to about a mile. If you want to, as long as a mile, it can write up to that. And the opposition will look at it and say, no, though you can write up to a mile, maybe we could have gotten one that could write to 2 miles and it's too expensive, or maybe we should have made the holder a bit bulkier, and that will help people's hands from freezing, from not freezing and all that stuff. So you look at all those things, then you see that there's always opposition to whatever thing that you want to do, whether good or bad. So at times people find ways and means to silence their critiques, and then just get on with it. But if we do it legally, using legal means to do so, that is okay. But when people wear strong hands, and because power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely, people take that higher pedestal, standing on that higher pedestal, decide to just wreak havoc. And then that's what. So what we are saying in Tunisia, what do you think is going to happen? Are we sitting on a timing bomb that will just one day just go up? And then what happens there? Now, speaking after voting ended at 5 p.m. GMT, Electoral Board Chief Farouk Boskar said 887,638 out of more than 7.8 million registered voters had taken part in the poll, which followed December's widely boycotted first round. Now, Tunisians were divided over the poll. Now, Mohamed Abidi, 51, a waiter in Tunis, said there was no way he will vote. Now, Said isn't listening to anyone to find solutions for our situation. The whole economy is suffering, but he's not interested. He only wants to keep his place in the presidential palace, he said. What do you think he's doing? Do you think it's the right course? Maybe he's seeing something that these ones are not seeing, but trying to maybe interpret it. He's not being able to do so, and therefore these people think that, well, he is cuckoos, and let's get on with it. But what do you think? Well, some more stories coming your way from the African continent. Gunmen kill 8 at birthday party in South Africa. That's what the police are saying. Gunmen opened fire on a group of people celebrating a birthday at the weekend in a township in South Africa, killing 8 and wounding 3. The story says the birthday celebrant was among those gunned down in the mass shooting in the southern port city of Gebeha, former Port Elizabeth. The owner of the house was celebrating his birthday when 2 unknown gunmen entered the yard on Sunday evening and started shooting at the guests, the police said in a statement. The gunmen randomly shot at guests, police said, adding 8 people died while 3 others are still fighting for their lives in hospital. The homeowner is among the deceased. The motive of the attack is yet unknown. Well, may their souls rest in perfect peace. And this is going to unrest also happening in this part of the world. South Africa is quite a troubling one. But what do we know? What do we see? And what can happen out of that? Well. Okay. When it comes to the weather phenomenon, tropical storm in Madagascar, at least 25 dead, road flooded and crops destroyed. So we're going to be talking about more hunger. 2,000 Madagascans have died and tens of thousands been left homeless since a severe tropical storm made landfall last week and swelled for days off the island western coast. Now, official records showed Sunday that Cyclone Cheneso smashed into northeastern Madagascar 10 days ago, bringing heavy winds and triggering downpours that have caused extensive flooding. Over the week, it has tracked southeastward, extending damage to houses, schools, and cutting of several national roads. Now, 25 people are now known to have died and 21 others are still missing, according to an update from Madagascar's Risk Management Office. Now, at least 83,181 people have been affected, with nearly 38,000 displaced from their homes. Now, Cheneso, which is temporarily intensified to a tropical cyclone in recent days, with winds of 118 to 166 kilometers per hour, has started to lose its purely tropical characteristics, according to the Southwest Indian Ocean Regional Specialist Meteorological Center based in the French overseas island of La Réunion. Okay, it's all coming your way from Star Radio UK, the favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Well, that was let me call it opposition cabinet reshuffle in Ghana, and that's brought about ruffled lots of feathers. And this time round, the Speaker of Parliament has also been raked into the whole thing, and the question is, what exactly is going on in that front? Well, let me bring you more on that. It is all coming away from Star Radio UK. Now, the story says National Chairman of the National Democratic Congress, Johnson Esiedinketia, has given another reason for which the party reshuffled its leadership in Parliament. Having earlier defended the decision to ring the changes amid backlash from some members of Parliament, the former party General Secretary revealed at a party gathering in London that a key reason was lack of cooperation between outgone leadership and Alban Gbagin, the Speaker of Parliament. He explained that there was no need to fight to elect a speaker from the party, yet turn round and be giving the speaker's problem at a time even the majority caucus maintain a cordial relationship with him. So I think that the leadership of the opposition party, who are supposed to support the speaker who hails from their own party, are not doing what they're supposed to do. It goes on further to say, in the quote, he said, my priorities in Parliament is to see our parliamentary caucus working together and also cooperating with the Speaker of Parliament. Now, why did we struggle to get an NDC person elected as the Speaker of Parliament? There are certainly some advantages, and those advantages can be tapped into when our leadership is cooperating with the Speaker, the National Chairman stated. Now, he continued, so we cannot have a situation where the MPP leadership is cooperating with the Speaker, while our leadership, the NDC, have challenges in cooperating with the Speaker. If you are giving a party whose leadership in Parliament is not working together, what will you do? You make the changes or you resign, and I am not ready to resign. I said Ngetia was addressing the NDC UK Ireland chapter during a visit to London, where he accompanied former President John Dramani Mahama for a public lecture engagement at the Chatham House. Now, General Mosquito, as he is referred to, also stated that the party held consultation contrary to the view out there, but it was the national executives who eventually took the decision because they are clothed with the capacity so to do. It's all coming away from Star Radio UK. Now, moving on to one other story from Ghana as well, and this time round pertaining to the computerized SHS placement that is allegedly for sale. So if you're here, you want your child to go to one of the best schools, then all that you got to do, just pay some money and you get the person controlling the computer, ta-ta-da-ta-da, push, and then your child is in one of the top secondary schools. Now, the Education Minister and Director General of the Education, Ghana Education Service, were the only ones given access and password to approve protocol placement into Category A Senior High School. Now, this was to curb fraud. But the Fourth Estate investigation found that the placement into such schools happened through a network of intermediaries that included cleaners and security guards. Also, it found that an investigation requested by Director General of the Ghana Education Service into allegations of corruption in the placement system was abruptly discontinued by two state security agencies. Now, there's a documentary that is that has gone on, but that I will not be able to put across. But if they say, so what did these cleaners and security people do? Did they, plot or plant a camera there and were able to pick the passwords and then were also able to hack in or log into the system and do their own placements? Ooh, yeah. Well, interesting. Well, one final story from Ghana, and then we'll move on to other parts of the world. 12 minutes past the top of the hour at the time, the morning show, the program. The Boyisa South Member of Parliament, Dr. Clement Park, has slammed President Akufo-Addo over his loud silence on the Auditor General's report on COVID-19 expenditure. The Auditor General had disclosed that the government spent 10 billion Ghana cedis of monies mobilized for COVID-19 activities in budget support. Now, according to the Accountant General, the Auditor General, my apologies, a total of 21.844189 billion billion Ghana cedis was mobilized for the fight against the pandemic. However, out of this amount, only 11.750,683,059.11 was spent on curbing the spread of the virus. Now, in a statement dated January 29, 2023, the lawmaker called on President Akufo-Addo to emulate the President of Malawi on how he has spelled out action to be taken against persons found culpable of embezzling COVID-19 funds in his country. Now, unlike the President of Malawi, Akufo-Addo, the President of Ghana, by his refusal to comment on the Auditor General's report, indirectly confirms the widely held belief that he has no interest in fighting corruption. Now, this is the conclusion of known anti-corruption crusaders in Ghana. So, if you're an anti-corruption crusader, what do you think? In a quote, he said, the legitimate expectation of the people of Ghana is that those who have embezzled, dissipated, and misappropriated COVID-19 funds be held accountable. Nothing more and nothing less, he stated. Now, what do you think? Isn't government is going to hack into that? Do they even actually care about that? Well. It is STARR Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. But one thing for sure, if you want to get your hands on a very cool place to buy, in Ghana, well, the GHS Housing Estate Limited, in Kuntunsi, and one near the Achimota Mall, that is Mayflower and Hazel Court Villa and Cochrane Villa, are available today. Tomorrow is the last day for that promotion, the 5% buyer's discount for the expendable 1, 2, 3, 4. Please get in touch with them and they will help you. It's something good. It's an investment. You buy it. You don't want to even live in there. You can rent it out. You can be making money. What about that? Well. In these times where you put your money anywhere and you're not very sure of it, can you just imagine if all those bonds, you use that money to be buying properties, but there's a renting it out. You'll be back in making money, wouldn't you? Well. So let's take this commercial break, a quick commercial break, and once we come back, we look at some of the other stories making the rounds in other parts of the world. Well, the Kremlin has come out to say that Boris Johnson is lying from his teeth. Now, what do you think? Or through his teeth? Or what is the best way to explain that? Or express that? I'll be with you in a moment. Stay tuned and don't you go away.
Make that move now this festive season to your new home address at GHS Housing Estates. From now to 31st January 2023, we are offering you an amazing 5% buyer's discount on all purchases on our expandable 1, 2, 3 and 4 bedroom detached homes at Cochrane Villa, Pokwase, just 5 minutes drive from the interchange. The Mayflower and the new Hazel Courts at Kuntusi, 20 minutes drive from Achimota Mall. Beautiful homes in a serene and gated community with flexible payment plans available. Call us now on 0544 347 980 or 0544 347 981. GHS Housing Estates. View it, love it, own it. Make that move now this festive season to your new home address at GHS Housing Estates. From now to 31st January 2023, we are offering you an amazing 5% buyer's discount on all purchases on our expandable 1, 2, 3 and 4 bedroom detached homes at Cochrane Villa, Pokwase, just 5 minutes drive from the interchange. The Mayflower and the new Hazel Courts at Kuntusi, 20 minutes drive from Achimotamo. Beautiful homes in a serene and gated community with flexible payment plans available. Call us now on 0544 347 980 or 0544 347 981. GHS Housing Estates. View it, love it, own it.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for star, R for radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
Well, welcome back to the program. It is Star Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Bringing the time now to exactly 18 minutes to 18 minutes past the top of the hour. It is the morning show. Let's now move on to other parts of the world to bring the first part of the program to a close, and then I'll take you to Cyprus, where our own HRH Linda Palian will be this afternoon bringing you Career 101. So just stay tuned and don't touch the dial. Okay. So, as I did say earlier on, with what is happening, Prime Minister, Rishi Sunak acted pretty decisively as he defends his handling of Nadeem Zahawi's sacking. It's one of the stories making the rounds, but information coming through, Johnson says Putin made missile threat in pre-war call. Boris Johnson says he had an extraordinary call with Putin, but I can tell you assuredly, let me go on my system and let me find you that story where I've been updated with the reaction from the Kremlin. The Kremlin, let me bring you that because I think it's not been made available yet. But let me bring what Boris said, and then I can bring you what the Kremlin has said this morning. Now, Boris Johnson has said Vladimir Putin threatened him with a missile strike in an extraordinary phone call in the run-up to Russia's invasion of Ukraine. The then Prime Minister said Mr. Putin told him it would only take a minute. Now, Mr. Johnson said the comments was made after he won the war, that he won the war will be an utter catastrophe. Now, the claim is made in a BBC documentary on Mr. Putin's interaction with world leaders over the years. The Kremlin spokesman said it was a lie. The Kremlin has suggested Boris Johnson was lying when he said Vladimir Putin appeared to threaten him with a missile strike last year. Now, the former Prime Minister said prior to Russia's invasion of Ukraine, Putin told him, "I don't want to hurt you, but with a missile, it would take only a minute." Now, they've come to debunk that. Now, what actually took place? Is it just a facade to just cover what Bojo, is alleged to have done and what is going on at the moment? What do you think about all that? This is all coming away from Star Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. All right then. So in the UK, as I did say, well, Rishi Sunak, the Prime Minister, has defended his handling of allegations about Nadeem Zahawi's tax affairs, saying he acted pretty decisively. Now, Sunak insists he took a very quick decision after an ethics investigation found Zahawi had broken the ministerial code. Now, Labour says there are serious questions for the Prime Minister, calling on him to clarify when he learned HMRC was investigating Zahawi. Meanwhile, allies of Zahawi have raised concerns about how the ethics investigation, which led to his removal as Tory party chairman, was carried out. The former chancellor was fired yesterday when an inquiry by Sunak's ethics advisor concluded Zahawi failed to declare he was being investigated for tax avoidance. The Prime Minister said it was clear that there has been a serious breach of the ministerial code. It's all coming your way from Star Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Well, are you 50 years and above? Well, some information coming through. It said that, well, a survey has suggested that applicants are right when they say employers are less open to hiring older workers. But is that older worker? It doesn't know need to go be babysitting. No, not babysitting. Taking their kids to school because they are old. Yeah, they can work. They can just concentrate on working. So if you're an older person over 50, I bet you your chances of getting a job will be very, very scary. Maybe you have to contact me. Yeah, contact me. Now, no trans prisoners attacked. That's what attack women. That's what the story is saying. Remember that story pertaining to okay. Justice Secretary Kate Brown has said there are no transgender prisoners with violence convictions against women in the female prison estate. It comes after it emerged that a violent prisoner, Tiffany Scott, previously known as a man called Andrew Burns, applied to transfer to a woman's jail. Now, on Sunday, a pause was placed on the transfer of transgender inmates. Now, official figures show that there are currently 5 transgender inmates. Officials show that there are currently 5 transgender women being held in the women's prison estate. Now, Mr. Brown said program program no trans prisoners with a history of violence against women were being held in a female prison. Now we hope so. Let me say good morning to good afternoon to Shamsuddin Oladipopo. I hope you are doing very well. So God bless Yoruba Nation. Yoruba Nation now. Yoruba Nation we want. God bless you all, sir, and God bless you too, Shamsuddin. I hope you are doing very, very well as well. Even as we bring the first part or draw the first part of the program to a close and bring you Career 101 with HRH Linda Pali, and just stay tuned and don't you go away. Of course, I'll bring you some music before then, but a couple of other stories and then we'll move on. At least 32 have been killed after attack in Peshawar, as I did say earlier on. And 32 people have been killed and 150 injured in the bombing at a mosque in Pakistan city of Peshawar. A section of the building was destroyed and officials say people are buried under the rubble. Now, most of those who died were part of the police force, and it's believed they were the target of the attack. Now, early reports said a bomber sitting in the front row had blown himself up, but this has not been confirmed and no group has admitted the bombing. Now, Mohammed Ijaz Khan, Peshawar's capital city police officer, told local media that between 300 and 400 police officials were present in the area at the time of the blast. And Prime Minister Shahbaz Sharif has strongly condemned it in a statement. Mr. Sharif said those behind the incident have nothing to do with Islam. He added the entire nation is standing united against the menace of terrorism. The blast took place during afternoon prayers in the northwestern city around 13:30, that is 08:30 hours this morning, GMT, near the country's border with Afghanistan. A video circulating social media verified shows that the half of the wall has caved in. The mosque is covered in bricks and debris as people clamber over the rubble to escape. A rescue operation is continuing inside the mosque and more bodies are being taken out. Peshawar City Deputy Commissioner Shafula Khan said, currently our priority is to have people buried under the debris or save people buried under the debris. That is what is said. It is all coming your way from Star Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London, and this is where I bring the first part of the program to a close to prepare you to take you to Cyprus, where our own HRH Linda Palian is this morning. Stay tuned and don't you go away.
Make that move now, this festive season, to your new home address at GHS House and Estate. From now to 31st January 2023, we are offering you an amazing 5% buyer's discount on all purchases on our expandable 1, 2, 3 and 4 bedroom detached homes at Cochrane Villa, Pokwase, just 5 minutes drive from the interchange. The Mayflower and the new Hazel Courts at Kuntusi, 20 minutes drive from Achimotamo. Beautiful homes in a serene and gated community with flexible payment plans available. Call us now on 0544 347 980 or 0544 347 981. GHS Housing Estates. View it, love it, own it. Make that move now, this festive season, to your new home address at GHS House and Estate. From now to 31st January 2023, we are offering you an amazing 5% buyer's discount on all purchases on our expandable 1, 2, 3 and 4 bedroom detached homes at Cochrane Villa, Pokwase, just 5 minutes drive from the interchange. The Mayflower and the new Hazel Courts at Kuntusi, 20 minutes drive from Achimotamo. Beautiful homes in a serene and gated community with flexible payment plans available. Call us now on 0544 347 980 or 0544 347 981. GHS Housing Estates. View it, love it, own it.
I'm not feeling very well. I think I have cold. I have flu. Really? Okay. Well, you want to call in properly so that you don't find yourself in trouble. That is what Linda is going to be talking about this afternoon. Okay, so let me go straight to Linda. So, how to call in sick at work? Okay. Over to you, Linda.
Fantastic. And we're discussing this topic because it's the holiday season and it's winter as well in most places. So there's a lot of bugs going around and flu, and with all of what's going on in the world, it's important to touch on the subject of, unfortunately, if you manage to feel poorly, how to communicate that to your employer so that you can keep your good name and manage that relationship properly.
Okay.
So we'll talk about reasons why you call in sick at work, and actually being hangover or eating too much after Christmas isn't one. Yeah. And then we're going to how to mitigate the call and how to manage it so that you can come back to work.
Okay.
Better.
Okay. Well, listeners, if you are listening to us, this is a good program a good topic that you have to listen to, because we know lots of you are going to be facing all this. I mean, the past week I've not been, I think, about 10 days, getting to 2 weeks, I wasn't feeling that well. But, if you are, an employer, you whether you are sick or you still have to plot on. So you have to. But if you are an employee, maybe you want to be like the boss man himself, and then you think that, well, if I can plot on, why not go in there? But if not, I mean, we're not saying that by force just come in to do that. But at times people have good reasons why they have to take some time off. If you are let's say you have got the Omicron variant, you don't want to come into the workplace to come and infect other people. No, we don't want that. And therefore, you have to adhere to it. So please take it in context what we are talking about this afternoon. Over to you, Linda.
Absolutely, and I'm glad you mentioned that, because I was going to start from there. So some of the reasons you might call in sick work is, first and foremost, contagious illness. So as we're talking the COVID-19, Omicron or any other variant of that matter, course, if you've got a contagious disease or illness, then it makes sense to protect the workplace and your colleagues, so you have a duty to yourself, even if you feel well, not to come in to protect other people. It's not to say you couldn't work from home, but definitely to take care of yourself so you're better quickly, or to work from home. And having said that, the flip side of that is there's a lot of people that are using this as an excuse, because it's, oh, I don't want to come to work, and if I say I have COVID or I've been in contact with someone that's got COVID, and then it gets me off the hook. And for anybody that might think like that, I encourage you to think about how it affects the business. Because if you come to work yesterday and you said you were in contact with somebody 2 days ago, all of the team have to go off or to have a test as well. So sometimes you put your whole team in jeopardy or the whole company in jeopardy because you want to lie about being sick. So it's really important, if you're going to do that, to look at the consequences of that.
Okay, yes, I can hear you. Yeah, we are here. Please go on.
Okay. So the first thing is contagious illnesses. Second one is injury or illness that affects your productivity. And this could be physical or mental as well. If it means that you can't perform your job as much as you will, as well as you would be expected to, then of course that's a reason to call in sick as well. Other ones include hospitalizations or having a procedure done, an operation, pregnancy, diagnosed with a medical condition. The usual reasons why you would call in sick at work. And most employers have policies in place already for these foreseeable circumstances. So it's these are acceptable reasons to call in sick. The second section of this part is, the second section of this topic or the subject we're discussing is how to do it. So the first port of call is choose the appropriate communication method to use. Very often, and I'm guilty of this actually, I remember being told off for this, where because you normally text your manager, you send a text, but for if you're going to call in sick, then they require you to have a call, a phone call, or maybe an email with all the details so that they can document it or forward it to HR, or online chat, whatever works for your company, but you have to know what the procedures are so that you can use the right method of communication. Sometimes you have a good relationship with your team, so you think a text message will do, but then it might, because it doesn't get passed on to whoever needs to know. So the appropriate method of communication. Secondly, act quickly. If you know you're not going to be in, as quick notice as possible will help them be able to find a replacement, especially this happens with the nursing and care sector. If there's 3 people planned for the day, if you're not going to be in, if you let them know quickly, they can have an agency or a replacement. So act quickly and estimate when you'll be back to work if you can. That's always very helpful for employers. I know from listening to my friends sometimes when they're, well, even clients, when they're frustrated with their employer, they said, oh, I told them that I have to have an emergency operation, and the first question was, when will you be back? Really sentimental about this. And yes, as much as you would like people to show some humanity and sympathize with you, their first priority from their perspective is the business. So if you're able to estimate when you're back, then they can know how to mitigate their chances. Not that they don't care, but it's just to be able to cover their background. Hopefully they'll do both.
Yes, and of course, when it is a procedure, at least the health expert will tell you that this might be for a period of your recovery will be maybe 2 weeks or something. So you have an idea of what might happen. So if somebody asks you that, you don't take it on. Maybe some people are not nice, so they'll make, why are you not coming to work? So they'll make you say, when are you coming back? Then that's trouble. But we hope that people are learning from that, and then we do the right thing for both sides. Yeah.
Absolutely. So definitely estimate the time you're back to work. Act quickly. The third point under this is keep them informed. It's very prudent to show that you still care. So keep them informed whether you hand over what tasks need to be done urgently in your absence, and whatever tools or documents they need to be able to access. Keep them informed, provide the right information so that somebody else can follow up, etc. It shows that you care. It shows that you're proactive. If you can and you don't, and then things get left behind just because you're ill and it costs the business money, that goes against you because you weren't as proactive as you could have been. Of course, nobody knows how ill you are in bed, but if you can, and if you're looking for promotion, this is a career for you and you're serious about it, then do your best to mitigate the inconvenience that's caused to the employer. Also, it's worth, this is a side point from point number 3, it's worth seeing if you can work from home instead. Sometimes you may sit your ankle so you can't get on the tube and go to work or walk to work, but you're able to work from home. So again, negotiating those things are very important rather than just taking the time off, leaving them in the lurch, or using up all your sick days when you might need them later. And then upon your return, how to figure out what the procedures are for your return, whether you need to do your return to work papers, your self-certification. I think in England, for most companies, under 7 days, you do a self-certification. More than 7 days, you need a doctor's note for your signed off. So understand what the procedure is within your company, and help them as much as possible with the follow-up when you're back to work. So definitely know the company's policies, be honest, because it's mutually beneficial for everyone. Prepare for your return to work. If you know you're coming in, what do you need to come in, and maybe you might need special adjustments, so say them in advance, rather than coming in and going, oh, well, my chair no longer supports my back, so I need to be off until you find me a better chair. And I know somebody that has done this.
And he wants some more time off. Interesting.
I had a back problem and they didn't have the right chair, so well, that's a requirement. So if you're giving them notice, and then also when you're phoning in sick, it's really important that you make your explanation concise. As much as you feel bad and you want them to understand that you're not faking it or whatever it is, do less symptoms and more about back to work. You know, some people like to tell you all the details. I woke up at this temperature. What I did this, and be as concise as possible. You don't feel well, you're going to go to the doctor, so you're going to take this time off, or you're going to take medication, whatever it is, and when you'll be back to work, or how long you estimate it to go for. So maybe I'll try out for a day, if not, I'll go to doctor, whatever it is. But put yourself in their position. They need to replace you or mitigate your not being there, so that as quickly as they can get on with it, the better, rather than listen to your sub story, which doesn't change the outcome
at all.
You're not going to be there.
Well, let me ask you one question pertaining to those who, when people are returning to work. Now, the person is not fully recovered. It looks like, okay, maybe they are handling a very important role. And they think that, well, because of that, I need to force some way. It's not 100% recovered, but they want to still come in. And therefore, when it comes to the output of the person, you know that it's being impacted negatively. Now, how do you deal with that?
I think it's being honest mutually. You know, if you think, oh, do you know what, my concentration isn't what it used to be, or isn't at full, and I still have headaches or whatever it is, but making sure that your boss or whoever the stakeholder is understands that, so that they're able to outsource it or double check it before, so that you avoid sending out something that is full of mistakes because you haven't been careful. And you have to be honest with yourself too as to what you can do, because some people, as you said, want to push through it, and then it ends up with the job having to be done twice. So that's now some resources because and the person who's checking the job, the work again. So it's being honest and this two-way communication. I can do this, or maybe I take on these tasks for now that I haven't been able to do. But if it comes to the physically running about and whatever, I can't do it just yet. So let's manage this. How do I do it? Would you rather I stayed at home and did the desk task? Do I have to come in and do this? You know, and talking about it. A lot of people shy away from negotiating because they feel like it will be seen negatively. But with any level-headed hiring manager or employer, they value the honesty as well. They hopefully they know what you are capable of at your peak.
Yeah, that's true. Because when I have maybe interaction with some presenters, and I think that the person even is not in a good frame of mind, I tell them, no, you can't do your program, because you should be able to communicate and the people should feel. But the moment I'm like, no, just cut it, just stay away. When you are better, you come and do that. Would rather play music or do a repeat rather than you not being that well, unless of course you are the only person and you're supposed to be there, as I was doing last week. I thought, oh gosh, how was that bad? But I needed to be there, so I needed to push myself to do it. But if not, and you are an employer and you are listening to us, please, I think that will serve you a great deal. But listeners, HRH Linda Pally and bringing us Career 101, and today we are looking at how to call in sick at work. You know, not just the one that boss, I'm not feeling well. No, not that one. Some people lie, but you do it such that even when you are not there, your absence is missed, and they will want you back. Not thinking that, well, this is a chance to get rid of the person. No, you don't want to do that at all. So continue to listen to her, and then we'll be putting all the details and how you can deal with all that across in a moment. Over to you, Linda.
Absolutely. I think you touched on a very important point that is very overlooked, you know, in terms of energy, the energy you bring, you know, to the work. If you're forcing yourself to be at work and you're dull or you're very quiet and you're not your normal self, and it's going to bring the work morale down. You really need to consider that as well, because you're not 100%, and that's part of sickness too. People think, oh, okay, well, it's been 2 days, I'm expected to get better, and you're not better, for example. Or maybe, for example, let's take a chef that's probably gone through COVID and probably lost the sense of taste and smell. That's not going to be helpful.
Very, very one that you know what. Prepare you something to eat and you bang your head against the wall.
You might be physically walking and have all the energy as well, but what's needed for your job isn't. That means you're not fully recovered. As you say, the radio presenter, if your energy levels or just your entertainment and your personality isn't the best, then you're going to hurt the ratings of your show rather than it. So as you say, it's better to play music and get the morale at least going than to. So that's a very important factor to consider. Not just physically what you need to get back to work, but also these intangible aura, energy, the effect you have on others, how you sound. And for some reason, and I've noticed this especially about myself, and I pick up a phone call and I'm in bed, people can tell straight away. They won't be able to tell me, you know. But as soon as I pick up the phone, are you tired? And people can tell these things. You know, you may lie to yourself, but you can't lie to people.
Yeah.
Especially people that know you really well.
Yeah. You're right.
It's important to acknowledge objective facts. If you're not 100%, you're not 100%, and probably it's better to 100%, unless it doesn't directly affect your output.
Yeah. Okay, listeners, HRH Linda Pallian for you, which is put all that you need to know and all that you have to do if you happen not to be well, and you want to call the workplace to say you are sick. The right way to do it, not lying. Now, it's better to be upfront rather than lying tomorrow. So, you know, some people have said that I'm not feeling very, very well. I remember my last job that I was in. And then apparently the guy posted something on his Facebook that it was an event. And then the boss, somebody saw it, went to give it to the boss, the overall boss. And I was like, oh gosh. So when it happens like that, you put yourself in big trouble.
That happens so often where people think, oh well, I'm just going to pull one over their eyes and think it's or call in sick, and then you're spotted in the supermarket. Or I mean, it's just there's no coming back from that. Once the trust is broken, it's so it's definitely worth considering. I mean, if you don't care about your job, but even still, if you burn those bridges, you might need them for a reference. You never know who they know in future. And of course, it's about being a person of your word and some integrity. So you would rather saying taking off a mental day, a mental sickness day, and then you can at least justify boosting your mental health, than say that I'm in bed and I have a flu and you're not. That never.
Thou shalt not lie. Well, listen to STARR Radio UK. Now, let me ask you: is it captured in the books at all?
Oh, that's a good question. No, this isn't actually covered in the books, but it's a good addendum to the books for the next edition of it. How to manage this. In the books we talk about, it's more about personal development and how to make yourself better. So I tend to shy away from taking the employer side to individuals, because it's a career coach on your side showing you how you can be better and achieve the goals you set for yourself.
Okay, listeners, well, if you are listening to us, whether you are an employer or you are an employee, at times you need to put yourself in the shoe of somebody to know exactly what the people are thinking. So these books, now, have you bought your Christmas present for your friends, your lovely, your loved ones, or name it? Now, if you've not, or even if you have, I can still recommend this one for you. Please, please, please. Linda is going to talk about the books. She's going to sum up what we discussed and then talk about the books. Please, please. Get your hand on it and give it to somebody. Listen, for the rest of the life of the person, you are going to better the life of that person. I mean, when it comes to his employment, and it's going to be a happy person, you know? Okay, so over to you, Linda.
Absolutely. So today we've spoken about how to call in sick at work. We spoke about some of the plausible reasons, acceptable reasons to call in sick at work. And some of the not so acceptable reasons, like I'm drunk or I ate too much or whatever it is. And then we spoke about I shared some tips on doing it properly, so understanding the company's policies and preparing yourself for it, because sometimes your line manager might not know exactly what to do. So if you're prepared, you've already reset, and you can tell them, you can give them pointers. Again, it stands you in good stead as a diligent worker. Being honest and punctual, all of those tips we've discussed, and then also how to physically call in sick, whether it's by phone, by text, which method, email, whatever method is outlined for you to do it, and then how to get back into the work once you return from your sick leave or your sickness, and perhaps sometimes when it's a good reason to work from home rather than call in sick and use that just in case.
Okay. Now let's talk about the book, please.
Absolutely. So there's 3 books, 3 career books, and you only need 1 or 2, whichever suits you. The first book is How to Career. So over the holidays, you've got some peace and quiet and some downtime. It's an easy read, a good time to reflect on what you're doing and how it fits your overall life goals. Is this a job for me, or is this a career? What am I going to change? When am I going to start earning what I deserve? So this is a great time to read these resources. How to Career shows you in 6 steps to analyze where you are at and where you want to go, and maybe put the steps in place to do that. Career success is boosting you to do better and to get to your next level of success. So whether it's a promotion, whether it's a job change, whether it's starting your own business, it gives you almost a checklist of how to build authority, how to do your CV, or how to build your portfolio, how to be seen as credible, how to network to get the right opportunities. And then, of course, the workbook ties it all together. It gives you pointers of what am I missing, what do I need to get to the next level, what have I considered, what am I still missing, how do I get the help to do that. And it gives you so many different ideas. I recently got some feedback from a workshop I did regarding these books, and it was fantastic. These are for middle management, and even at that level, there was a lot of things that they hadn't thought about, or a lot of things to reflect on. So it's a great resource if you're at the beginning of your career, if you're looking to change career, if you're looking to progress, and the last chapter of Career Success talks about leaving a legacy. So if you're near retirement, how to retire so that people remember your name and remember your contribution to the company. It's super important, as well as frequently asked questions. So you might find, should you work for free? Should you do this secondment? Whatever it is, they're great resources. You can find them on Amazon. You can find them everywhere online. You can find them on Book Depository, Waterstones online, Nielsen. Get your hands on these books. They're less than £20 per copy, and they'll be the best resource you've done for yourself and for other people. This Christmas, give people the gift of personal growth. Help them to get to their goals, and they'll always be grateful to you for that.
Wow. Okay, so let's say thank you very much for HRH Linda Pallian. She said we need to bring that your way, because she's been on that errand trying to sort few things out. But that's why I'm bringing the program to a close for today. It's been a pleasure coming your way once again, and I promise you that this tomorrow morning, God willing, if we are still alive, yes, we will be back here, myself and Mr. Olayomi Koiki, coming your way to bring you another edition of the morning show. To those of you who listen to us, those of you on the YouTube channel, those of you on the Facebook, and as many of you who are watching us from near and afar, I salute each and every one of you. Whatever you are believing in and standing up for, I want to encourage you that still continue to stand up for it and fight for the right, stand up for the right, and I tell you, one day you will come to it. On that note, I say have a wonderful afternoon and have a blessed day. I see you all tomorrow, and bye-bye for now. Enjoy the song, copy version of Bob Marley's Get Up and Stand Up for Your Right. All right then. This one is from the Roots Riders featuring Mo Ali. Enjoy. Bye-bye for now.
soon on DAB. This is Star Radio UK, the leading Afro-Caribbean radio station in London.
But if you look what life is worth, and you would look for yours and more. Now you see the light. I want you to stand up for your right. Stand up. Come on. Stand up for your right. Everybody, get up, stand up. Everybody, don't give up the fight. One more time. Get up, stand up. One more time. Stand up for your right. One more time. Get up, stand up. Rewind, sing it.
Make that move now this festive season to your new home address at GHS Housing Estate. From now to 31st January 2023, we are offering you an amazing 5% buyer's discount on all purchases on our expandable 1, 2, 3 and 4 bedroom detached homes at Cochrane Villa, Pokwase, just 5 minutes drive from the interchange. The Mayflower and the new Hazel Courts at Kuntusi, 20 minutes drive from Achimotamo. Beautiful homes in a serene and gated community with flexible payment plans available. Call us now on 0544 347 980 or 0544 347 981. GHS Housing Estates. View it, love it, own it. Make that move now this festive season to your new home address at GHS Housing Estate. From now to 31st January 2023, we are offering you an amazing 5% buyer's discount on all purchases on our expandable 1, 2, 3 and 4 bedroom detached homes at Cochrane Villa, Pokwase, just 5 minutes drive from the interchange. The Mayflower and the new Hazel Courts at Kuntusi, 20 minutes drive from Achimotamo. Beautiful homes in a serene and gated community with flexible payment plans available. Call us now on 0544 347 980 or 0544 347 981. GHS Housing Estates. View it, love it, own it.
Hi guys, this is your friend